What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 9 rupees chapter 115. How to Die in Shame. Whitebeard, one of the 4 emperors, is defeated. Crash. The waves roll. The marine warships of New World are lined up on both sides, and the flagship of Marine Admiral Sengoku is in the center. Invincible ship ahead. Side security. Be careful to keep the distance, correct the position. In the command room, the various voices of the phone bug were collected and transmitted to the ships below. Report information on Sengoku Admiral, Hive Island. Sengoku reached out and took the orderly's information. Huh? It's over. Sengoku was very worried about the red hair pirates attacking the Hive Island, so he led the marines to stand ready. Of course, Sengoku still has the idea of picking up the loopholes, waiting for Shanks and John to fight and deal with them. Did not expect. So soon, it's over? After reading the information, Sengoku couldn't help being surprised. Captain John is dead? Died of betrayal? Sengoku didn't know whether to smile or something else. Who would have expected it? Captain John, who was once arrogant, notorious, and greedy for money, will have such a day. This is the most shameful way to die, huh? The red hair pirates didn't take over Hive Island? Those guys, what are you doing? A series of accidents extinguished Sengoku's idea of picking up the leak, and made him frown. What about the Hunters Guild and the Whitebeard pirates? The two sides disappeared together on the sea surface before dawn, without a trace. Our ship was intercepted. Sengoku put down the information and said, so, they should be on a certain island now to settle their grievances. He looks out to sea. Retreat. Yes, Admiral. The magnetic field of New World is more complicated than that of the Paradise section. Some islands do not record pointers at all, so they have to rely on lifeguards. Now that we don't know the specific location of the opponent's confrontation, it is not a wise choice to take a large army to swim in New World. There are huge dangers in some seas, even he dare not break into them. Sengoku is known as the resourceful general. He is thoughtful and resourceful. Right now the enemy's situation is unknown, making the safest choice of retreat is in line with his style. Boom. Boom. The frozen sea. A breathless battle broke out. The whole sky exploded loudly. Whitebeard, who stimulates potential, has red skin and steaming, very similar to Luffy's second gear. In this state, his strength increased, keeping up with Leno's speed and releasing more violent shockwaves. Route 29 is Leno, who is fully talented, and he also feels headaches in the face of the Awakened shock fruit power. Now Whitebeard, the combat power has increased by about 40%. The closer he is to Whitebeard, the stronger the vibration will be, and it can also damage the internal organs through the resonance of the heart. Even so, Leno didn't back down, and directly challenged Whitebeard, who was in a state of openness, and had a strong confrontation. It is rare to see such a desperate Whitebeard. After this battle, I am afraid that it will be difficult to meet again. Battle of Burning Life. Look at Whitebeard's appearance, just this time. Since Whitebeard gave face in this way, of course he should pay back. The way to respect the opponent is to use all his strength. Knowledge color coverage, armed color hardening, Conqueror's winding. The 3 kinds of power confront each other and intertwine, shooting out thunderous rays of light, shining in the sky. Kong Yunki and Dragon Sparrow are 2 famous knives fighting for the front, and every time they collide, the ice trembles and shatters. Boom boom boom. The 2 figures collided and backed away, and with more violent force, they slashed at each other, cutting out an arc of lightning. The vibration continued, and the cracks on the ice surface expanded. There were injuries on the 2 of them, but they didn't care about it at all. They fought hand to hand again, and the terrifying force permeated the air. Known as the strongest man in the world, Whitebeard is not only the fruit, but also the combat experience in Haki. Can play with Garp, Sengoku and others, Whitebeard has its own advantages. Such fierce and violent fighting made Hancock their eyes, and Mal regarded them as worried and frightened. Father in such a state, can't take down that guy? Atmos of the 13th squad was shocked. Damn it, can't he fall down? Time is getting worse and worse for Dad. Margao and the others were tense, causing the heart to vibrate at high speed. The force brought by it was unsustainable, and the sequelae were too great. Even will die. Boom. After another collision, the impact of the explosion made the sky pale, the sea rolled, and the icebergs collapsed layer by layer. Leno and Whitebeard stepped back, plowing open 2 huge ravines on the ice mixed with island fragments. Whitebeard was panting, hot air billowing, and the open wound on his chest was bleeding. Even Kaido's defense can't stop Leno's slash, let alone Whitebeard. The current Leno has evolved 1 step further. If he hadn't added status to himself, he would have lost. But Whitebeard wasn't scared, he was laughing. Gu la la la. This feeling of going all out has not been felt for a long time, and the battle in a desperate situation made him tremble all over. The growth of age, the aging of the body, is an objective fact, and Whitebeard himself knows it well. Only, who wants to be old? Especially people like Whitebeard, who have had glory days, stood on the top of the world, and their pride remains unabated. So he hopes to return to the peak, to return to the majesty of his youth. Only fighting, blood-burning fighting can do it. There was fearlessness in his eyes. For any approaching threat, he has the courage to directly meet it from the front. Call. Leno held the knife and exhaled gently. Sweat was flowing from his body, and the shattered wound was healing. His physique is comparable to that of Kaido, with a young body and great talent, and a few injuries are not a problem. In full state, Whitebeard's shock fruit, mighty. No wonder Blackbeard coveted it. It's a pity that Blackbeard's physique cannot be used to its full potential due to the side effect of dark fruit taking double damage. Leno breathed evenly, calmed down, looked at Whitebeard and said, "How long can you last in this state?" Open black lens bracket, foresee the future, close black lens bracket. Whitebeard's figure jumped up, disappeared in place, appeared in front of Leno, and, Kong Yunki, chopped down. Of course, until I defeat you. Leno attacked first, and the moment Whitebeard swung the knife horizontally, Whitebeard immediately changed his move and smashed his head with the hammer, blasting out shockwaves. Boom! The air shattered under the head hammer, and the sky seemed to be sunken, and a sinkhole was smashed out by Whitebeard. Leno raised his knee back in midair and collided with the head hammer. Ka. Under the collision of Conqueror's Haki, the thunder spread, and the terrifying forces fought against each other, stirring up a hurricane. Whitebeard let out a roar, his red skin was boiling hot, distorting the space, and his power burst out instantly. At the same time that the head hammer smashed Leno into the air, Whitebeard was also under the shock, and flew back 100 meters. Boom! Where Leno landed, ice and gravel flew around, and a huge pit seemed to be pressed out by a shell. A series of cracks spread out for several miles. Did you win, Daddy? Do not, Margao in the other's excited mood, as Leno stood up, went cold again. That guy, what's going on? It's exactly the same as Kaido, an immune to death monster. Yizang is unbelievable. No, it's much scarier than Kaido. I've withstood that kind of attack, as if nothing happened. This kind of guy who can't be defeated at all is the most difficult to deal with. Damn it. Look at Daddy. The rock collapsed where Whitebeard landed, and he was holding a knife at this moment, kneeling on one knee, coughing up blood uncontrollably. Although it was Leno who was shot flying, it was Whitebeard who was more seriously injured, and he was exhausting his life. Sure enough, after another collision, Whitebeard stepped back and began to stagger. Malcolm's eyes widened. Go on like this, Whitebeard will die. They must be stopped. No more fights. Margao couldn't bear it anymore, and blue flame wings appeared behind him, wanting to fly over to help. Suddenly, a foot kicked over, entwined with the armed color, and kicked Margao flying. Hancock landed on the ground, and said proudly, "I will never allow you dirty fellows to disturb Lord Leno's holy battle." Margot, Bista and other captains could no longer hold back their emotions. "We're here to help you. Stop them," Luwell said immediately. "Killing Whitebeard here would shock the world. He is a super big pirate who is feared by people all over the world." Laugh. Slash wave strikes and sweeps towards them. Vista slashed open with a knife. Kuina held the Hidao Yi character, stepped out, and attacked Vista. Lu Chi's body swelled, and Devil Fruit 5 appeared again. He was extremely fast, and with a sharp side kick, he kicked the burly Buffalo Atmos. Murloc Karate Chinbawa Jungchuan, Shark Star hits the Murloc Namule. This is fate. Van Oka raised his gun and fired rapidly. Whoosh! The specially made bullets floated out, interrupting Launcher, Coolie Al, who raised the rocket launcher and was about to attack. Luwire and Yizang drew their guns almost at the same time. After seeing each other's movements, they both froze for a second, and then shot at each other. Although Luwell is a zone fruit-capable user, her weapons have always been double guns, and her shooting skills are superb. The same is true for Yizang. He is the master of women's clothing among the pirates. He is a samurai, but he is not confident in swordsmanship and is better at shooting. He believes that samurai do not have to stick to swords. Samurai is a way of life. 4 flintlock guns fired at each other while the two dodged. Luwell's spider web perception, coupled with observation Haki, allowed her to achieve full marks in dodge. She fought Hancock in private, and when she used these two powers, it was difficult for even Hancock to hit her. A seemingly tasteless talent, properly utilized and developed with care, also has unexpected effects. A new duel begins. Margot, who wanted to help Whitebeard, was held back. Hancock versus Malcolm. Her Haki, at Leno's request, received a workout boost. Margot had the upper hand. Leno and the others came to Kale Bali for half a month and naturally collected a lot of detailed information about the Whitebeard pirates. The captain of the Whitebeard regiment, the serial number does not necessarily represent the strength and status ranking. For example, Margau's first team is the ship doctor team, Bista's 5th team is the swordsman team, Josie's 3rd team is the main battle team, etc. The captains brought by Whitebeard are considered capable. But when they actually fought, Kuina and Lu Chi were surprised. Why? These people are weaker than imagined, huh? For this battle, Kuina and the others are training hard and improving themselves after work. To face the Whitebeard pirates captain, the pressure is not small. Especially watching the fierce battle between Leno and Whitebeard shocked everyone and made everyone be more careful. Just after a preliminary test, but I feel that these captains are far from the intensity they expected. Not to say there is no gap, instead, it can be fought without reaching the level of being completely crushed. On the one hand, it was Leno's recent, special training that made them used to high-intensity battles. On the other hand, it was the Whitebeard regiment's own reasons. Whitebeard's protection of the crew is so good that the captains under his command lack self-motivation. For example, Ace has been going smoothly all the way. After staying in the Whitebeard team for so long, he didn't exercise his chi well. After Whitebeard's death, the captains led by Marco lost to the incomplete Blackbeard pirates. 16 captains sounded like a lot, but there were very few who really stood out. Among those who are famous, besides Marco, Joas, Vista, and Ace, who else has performed brilliantly? Among them, Ace still can't do anything, give away the first place in the head. With the shelter of parent, Whitebeard, it's the same situation as Kuina with Leno. Strong opponents will be dealt with by Whitebeard. General opponents are in awe, and they are often defeated at the first touch. Many people have not met a decent opponent for a long time, so it is difficult to get sharpened and their strength cannot be improved. Over time, people feel that Beidouin's strength is greater than its name, its ability is not great, and its temper is not bad. Seeing Hancock, Kuina and the others start to fight, Leno is not in a hurry to end the fight with Whitebeard. Whitebeard has reached his limit and his condition is declining. Obviously unable to keep up with his rhythm, regardless of speed, strength, or 250 Haki recovery, they were all suppressed. Now Whitebeard is like a prey caught in a trap, no matter how hard he struggles, he is the hunter's meal. Damn it, Dad, if it wasn't for saving me, me wouldn't. Kill over there and help Dad, Ma or Gao and others who realized this did not stay any longer. Launch the most violent offensive, break through the defenses and support Whitebeard. Margao blamed himself the most, the flames on his body soared and turned into a phoenix, and the raging flames covered the sky and covered the earth. Atmos's body skyrocketed, Zone Niu fruit buffalo form, savagely sprinting into Floki. Vista slashed. Rose flower rain. The slash wave of the knife flew out a piece of rose petals and fell like rain. Bang Zon Wan. The hidden Haki melted into the bullet and shot at the half-human, half-spider Luel. Around each bullet, there is a circular slash, which can achieve the effect of shooting and slashing at the same time. The strong eruption of Margao and the others put Hancock and the others under a sudden increase in pressure, and the confrontation gradually became more intense. Leno brought them to New World, originally to temper them like forging. Can fight Whitebeard's captain, it was an excellent practical exercise for them. Leno's tempo slowed down, giving Whitebeard a break and seeing the other side of the fight. He probably guessed Leno's purpose, even though he shouted in embarrassment, "You little brat, the battle is not over yet." However, Whitebeard, who has added a state, is barely a tie with the normal Leno. Now that Whitebeard is back to normal, how can he beat Leno? In half an hour, with Kuina and their fierce battle, results came out one after another. Leno raised his hand and slashed the exhausted Whitebeard with a sharp slash wave. After making him lie down, he didn't stand up again. "Daddy!" Whitebeard's crew exclaimed in pain. "Master Leno is the best." There was love in Hancock's eyes. Whitebeard was lying on the ground panting, a slanted wound appeared from his left shoulder to his waist, and his flesh and blood turned outward. The wound continued to bleed, but the eyes are unusually bright. What a treat! Aging is a feeling of waiting for death, becoming weaker and weaker, as if drowning, suffocating him. He had never thought about this before, but after he fell seriously ill, he realized that he was also a human being. He is not afraid of death, what he is afraid of is dying on the hospital bed, like Captain John, living more and more uselessly. It's really embarrassing to have a beautiful face and a dry bone, and the Overlord is late. Ahem. Whitebeard coughed, staggered, put his hands on the floor, tried to stand up. Neihi's body, which had exploded to its limit, was extremely weak, and it was already difficult to support it. The power of shock fruit has its limits, so, Whitebeard sat on the ground weakly, panting heavily, watching the figure getting closer. This young man is incredible, really scarier than Roger. Gu la la la, it's up to you to take off my head, so that I will die a worthy death, come on. Whitebeard laughed and closed his eyes. Chapter 116 Copying Shock. Kaido. When it comes to heroes in the world, there are only two people, Leno and Guy. Marijoy. 5 elders gathered. In Phonebug, Sengoku Admiral reports on the New World. John and his gang on Hive Island are in conflict. Captain John was stabbed in the back, and the whereabouts of Ochaku and Silver Axe are unknown. The Red Hair Pirates did not occupy Hive Island. These 5 elders don't care much. The era of Captain John is over, the new generation is rising, and his defeat is within our expectations. Just dying in a rebellion is surprising and dramatic. 4 emperors go to one of them, and there will be a new group of restless people. It is a good thing for us to fight for this. Let those guys go to New World. Without the factors of instability, the world will be stable and peaceful. The world government is clearly aware of the existence of the 4 emperors. Why has it never planned to crusade, but just forbid them to leave? Even, the title of Four Emperors was proposed for the first time by the world government after Roger's death, and it was given to the four great pirates. That is to say, Four Emperors is named by the world government, a kind of honor given to the great pirate. The Four Emperors that have not been recognized by the world government cannot be called the Four Emperors. For example, when Buggy became Four Emperors, the world government mistook Buggy for the leader of the Cross Union. Then, the whole world treats him as the new Four Emperors, ignoring the duo of K-Lock Doll and Mahawk. Even if they stand up and say they are, no one will agree unless they publicly beat Buggy. Pretty weird logic. It is obviously a hostile force, but it needs hostile recognition in order to be recognized by the public. From beginning to end, the world government has steadily controlled the situation and maintained the balance of the four seas, Paradise, and New World. This is why Sakazuki insisted on abolishing the Shichibukai system after he came to power, which was opposed by 5 elders. Balance means stability. As for how many people will die for balance, it's just a number. Who will be the new Four Emperors? The new Fourth Emperors, let's talk about it next year. Let those pirates fight for it first, and reduce their combat power. 5 elders is in no rush to announce. The reason is simple, 2 peaches kill 3 warriors. How many days does a false name of 4 emperors kill? Shanks. Do you want to contact him? How to put it, he is also the orphan of God's Canyon. Maybe one, Leno could be, no, exactly, his parents. It was too chaotic at the time, maybe some people were taken away by the escaped pirates. 5 elders still remember Leno breaking into Marijoy and unleashing the Conqueror's Haki over all things. In private, more than one group of people were sent to investigate his experience. The more they investigated, the more confused they became. Because Leno seemed to be born out of nowhere. Of course, in the age of the great pirates, the flames of war were filled with smoke and gunpowder, and there were countless orphans. But Hancock, one of the 7 warlords of the sea, insists that Leno is a celestial dragon, and 2 other CPOs think so. Even today's Marijoy has similar rumors. And those celestial dragons who were stunned by Leno became believers in this rumor. How could we be stunned by the humble blue sea bug? Leno must be celestial dragons. We were stunned by the same race, what's so strange? I don't know whether it's psychological comfort, or whether it's really confirmed that Leno is celestial dragons. Anyway, everyone has regained face. Can't beat? Let him join, no problem. Just 5 elders scratching their heads. Is it true, or is it false? By the way, what about Leno and Whitebeard? Isn't he going to New World? Sengoku said that he didn't know where he was going, so he should have found a place to stop it. Those pirates basically solved the problem like this. It's best to die together. It's not bad to die at random. It's good for us. The 5 elders in the world government don't care who the 4 emperors are as long as a balanced and stable world situation is maintained. Think about it, even if Marine's Whitebeard too is cut off, it can be incorporated into 7 warlords of the sea. You can see where they stand, as long as it can maintain its own rule. Everything that can be used, and everything that can be compromised. New World, Deserted Island, Daddy, Margot, Vista, etc. The captains of the Whitebeard pirates, their eyes are tearing apart. What they see. In the sun, Leno came up to Whitebeard, holding his knife high. The dark golden blade, through continuous tempering by Haki, has become a black sword. The blade is really shining. The essence of tempering, black sword, is similar to Haki forging. It wasn't difficult for Leno. His Haki is powerful, and he has the talent of craftsman's soul, and he only strives for perfection. Gu la la la, Whitebeard sat on the ground, the sloping wound on his chest, the flesh turned out, the bone deep and the blood flowing. He closed his eyes and waited for death to come. Ding! You beat your opponent, scan to talents. Junjen, SSS level. Conqueror's Haki, SSS level. Jianshuo, SS level. Observation Haki, SS level. Armament Haki, SS level. Guan Daoshu, SS level. Tyrannical Fist, SS level. Adopted Son's Power, S level. Leaving the island, the doctor on the ship bandaged Lu Chi and his wounds. Leno flipped through the system logs. The talent of Junjen is undoubtedly because Whitebeard has developed this fruit to the degree of awakening. Moreover, it is not a general awakening. Whitebeard Conqueror's Haki actually reached the SSS level? The strongest man in the world still has 2 brushes. Or, is it because of Shanks Conqueror's Haki, which has yet to reach SSS to replace Whitebeard? Probably. Talent potential and external display are 2 different things. Talent that cannot be fulfilled is equal to no talent. Open black lens bracket. Please host choose a talent as soon as possible. Close black lens bracket. Leno didn't hesitate. Choose, shock fruit power, unique, star paramecia. The talents of freezing and wind control can be integrated and developed. As for Conqueror's Haki, Leno has an intuition that he can complete the evolutionary improvement only by himself. Now every time he defeats a Conqueror's Haki owner, his own courage will also become stronger. Ding! Successfully copied talent. Gen talent introduction. You will be able to cause vibrations. Strength. SS level, okay. Lost strength. Leno is surprised. Why? Ding. The SSS level is the Awakening of Devil Fruit, a world-class unique power. Leno understood that the Awakening of Devil Fruit is unique and belongs to the world class in this field. If I didn't eat Devil Fruit, I couldn't awaken, so I couldn't reach the $S level. In other words, freezing and Yufeng talents are almost like this? It seems that Kuzan's one was not awakened at that time. As for the dragon, I haven't seen all his talents, so I don't know much about it. Also, if I choose Kaido's Blue Dragon talent, I obviously can't reach the SSS level. A subtle tingling sensation comes from the depths of the cells, and the muscles tremble. Leno combines the talent of shock. He squinted his eyes slightly, clenched his fists, and then used the 6th-style finger pistol to sweep out the airwaves vibrating. Boom. The sea exploded. It wasn't just Whitebeard who defeated Leno. Ding. You defeated your opponent, and you scanned for talents. Phoenix, SS level. Flame of Regeneration, SS level. Observation Haki, SS level. Armament Haki, S level. Medical Skill, S level. Kicking Skill, S level. Level. Resourcefulness, level A. Margau's strength is not as strong as imagined. From the perspective of overall performance, he is more like a support. Among the vice presidents, Margau's record always gives people a feeling of hip pull, and Yuan Jinggao is more because of his age. Open black lens bracket. Please host choose a talent as soon as possible. Close black lens bracket. Choose, Flame of Regeneration. Ding, successfully copied talent, Flame of Regeneration. Talent Introduction. When injured, expend energy to release cyan flames, which can heal the injury and increase the healing speed. The flame does not have flame characteristics, cannot spread and burn things. It also has an effect on others, and the effect is halved. Note. The degree of healing is limited, exhaustion of physical strength will not heal, and injuries beyond a certain level will also cause death. Close black lens bracket. Strength. SS level. This talent is not bad, it can heal itself or others, and it has an additional auxiliary skill. Leno looked at the other records. Vista's Foil Sword, SS rank. This talent is a similar talent to Grandmaster of the Sword. Bull Power, of Atmos, S rank. Yizhang's Open Black Lens Bracket Flintlock Grandmaster Close Black Lens Bracket, S rank. Namur and Cooley Al were not copied because they were defeated by Sharkstar and Van Oka respectively. See Circle Calendar in 1513, the New World situation stirred up by Shanks came to an end with the rebellion on Hive Island. Such an ending, because of surprise. A group of 4 Emperor's pirates died out due to internal strife, which is even more dramatic than a drama, making people dumbfounded. But this is the new world, new people come in every day and old people leave. Fame, power, wealth, etc., those who yearn for everything go to sea under Roger's bewitching. Open black lens bracket One Piece Close black lens bracket The legend is still going on. The flag of Hunter Guild is still flying in Kale Bali, where the New World branch is located. The wrath of the Whitebeard pirates failed to burn this place down. After a great battle, Hunter's Guild successfully gained a foothold in New World. Then, the sudden visit of Kaido of the Beasts and Katakuri surprised everyone. Port. Sharkstar waited for the Murlocs nervously. Why do people from Kaido and Big Mom come here? Go and report to the president, be careful, don't provoke them, so as not to cause unnecessary conflicts. Kaido glanced at the flag that was still there, and said, Whitebeard really failed to regain his territory. He got off the boat. Wororo, Linlin's little devil, what are you doing here? Kaido looked at Katakuri, Smoothie, Daifuku and others, and then looked at his big dutiful son. I have to be convinced. Charlotte Linlin can really give birth and can teach. Facing Kaido, Katakuri and the others were not too nervous, and among the 4 emperors, there were also close and distant relatives. Kaido and Charlotte Linlin are relatively close people, not only because they belong to the same rocks. It is also because Kaido, who was still a little ghost, was on board thanks to Charlotte Linlin's care. Rocks disbanded, and it was Charlotte Linlin who gave him the dragon fruit, so he owed a great kindness. With this relationship, Kaido has never offended Big Mom's waters. Katakuri has a cold personality. So, it was Smoothie who replied, Mom asked us to send Leno an invitation to this year's tea party. Oh, Linlin has his eyes on Leno, right? Wororo, that's really interesting. Kaido couldn't help laughing, the sound shook the sky. Katakuri and Smoothie have black lines on their faces, and the district said that Charlotte Linlin likes to look for her husband everywhere. But the husband she chose is a person of a different race in the pirate world. Not for love. She wants to multiply and build an utopia where all races can live in peace. Leno is the most common human, not in her recipes. Still, if Leno wants to, marriage is possible. For such a strong man, which force does not want it? Kaido, Katakuri and the others did not rush in, but waited at the port to avoid misunderstanding Leno. His strength is enough for them to respect him. Yamato with the mace on his shoulder looked left and right curiously. She looked very excited. The year before last, Kaido, who was disabled, returned to Wano Kuni. When Yamato heard about it, he ran to challenge Kaido. Then he was knocked away by a stick. After that, Yamato inquired many ways, and finally learned the whole story from Jack. She has been impressed with Leno ever since. The man who can beat Kaido, even his idol Odin, is the ideal teacher. The rebellious spiritual girl gave Kaido a headache. Really, if Yamato is really a son, Kaido has to let him know what a father's love is like a landslide. Coming. Dafu kept looking in the direction of the town, and a group of people came out. Seeing Kaido from a distance, Leno smiled and said, "Hey, Kaido, you've been carrying it for so long, but you didn't die, it's so embarrassing." Kaido's black face suddenly became darker. Although Leno's appearance has changed a lot, his voice is still annoying as always. Kaido thought about the tragedy of being used as a shield again. Yamato saw Leno, his eyes lit up, and asked happily, "Are you the man who defeated Kaido?" Katakuri, Smoothie and the others looked at Yamato. Who is she? Kaido's face was as black as ink. He knew that he shouldn't bring her out, it was completely embarrassing himself. Leno looked at the guy who dared to call Kaido by his first name. She is tall, wearing a white sleeveless close-fitting kimono with blue patterns and 2 diamond patterns on the chest. A huge shimenawa is tied around the waist. She was wearing a long red dress on her lower body, and a pair of red clogs with straps on her bare feet. Shoulder-carrying mace, slender and less sharp than Kaido's. Oh Yamato, known as the Great Filial Son, Yamato wears a prajna mask. A head of long white hair with gradient color, from the top of the head to the tip of the hair, it gradually changes from white to green, and then to blue. The hair is parted in the middle, and 2 stacks of Li Zhao's hair naturally hang down on the chest. There are a pair of red devil horns growing on the top of the head. That's the characteristic of Ghost Race. The hair at the back of the head is tied into a ponytail, with 2 orange hairpins and gold earrings on both ears. Ghost Clan is a legendary race that exists in the pirate world and is famous for its strength and physique. Kaido's superior body is the racial talent of Ghost Race, similar to the shark muscle that all Murlocs have. Yamato also has superior body, but not as many. If Yamato is my daughter, she must be educated well, but she is Kaido's daughter, tisk tisk. Leno smiled and said, "That's right, it's me, what do you need from me?" Yamato said excitedly, "I want to worship you as my teacher, be my teacher, teach me how to defeat Kaido." Leno looked at Kaido. Boom! Kaido finally couldn't bear it anymore, and wrapped his fist around Conqueror's, knocking her unconscious. Of course, this kind of injury is just a matter of sleeping for the thick-skinned Ghost Race. After letting Jack keep an eye on Yamato, Kaido turned to Leno and said, "Hey, you guy, have you gotten stronger again? Let's fight." When Kaido heard that Leno was entering New World, he couldn't wait to come here. From Leno, he got the skills to increase the upper limit, and he has been able to master it through continuous training. After Kaido was defeated, he was no longer bored. With his character, of course he wanted to get back the game. He doesn't hate Leno, but admires him very much, and only Leno is worthy to be his Kaido's opponent. What Whitebeard, Auntie, Garp and the like are almost meaningless. Only Leno is a real man, and if he talks about heads up, he will head to head. In Kaido's mind, he felt that Leno and Guy are the only heroes in the world. Kaido and Leno are going to fight again. After Katakuri, Smoothie, and Daifuku were surprised, they were excited. During the battle, they were all below, with countless questions in their hearts. What others said was not as good as what they saw with their own eyes. Leno smiled and said, "Okay, no problem, but I have to wait until I send these guests away." Kaido stared over and said, "Hey, you little brats, tell me what's going on, don't bother us." Chapter 117 Kaido's Alliance Proposal. Big Mom Tea Party, meet Fujitora on the way. Don't bother us. Kaido, your words are very ambiguous. Leno took Katakuri and the others into the town to entertain them. Hearing that it was an invitation to a tea party, Leno agreed. Open black lens bracket Hunter Guild close black lens bracket. When you come to New World, you will inevitably contact the 4 emperors and other forces. Apart from a conflict with Whitebeard because of Kale Bali, he has no grievances with anyone else. There's no need to provoke a bunch of enemies when you're new here and just gain a foothold. See Circle Calendar late July 1513. The second battle between Leno and Kaido begins on an unnamed island. After 3 days and 3 nights of fierce fighting, Leno, who has not yet displayed the full moon demon king form, drives Kaido into the deep sea, ending the battle. The spectators Katakuri, Smoothie, Daifuku and others went back and told Charlotte Linlin about the incident. The chief chef, Long Bread, proposed to Charlotte Linlin to choose a daughter to marry Leno. Charlotte Linlin was heartbroken. She called her school-age daughters together, hoping that they could show off their talents at the tea party. Kaido was defeated again, by the normal Leno. Although Kaido has specially trained Haki's fusion skills, compared with Leno, it is still slightly inferior. He's improving, Leno is improving even faster. Kaido's recognition of Leno's power, true. The two drank together. Kaido thinks that Leno can replace John's group and become the 4th tomb of New World. Leno said that the Hunters Guild is different from the pirates, and that Shanks' red hair pirates can successfully climb to the top. Kaido made a note, and he decided to go to the red hair pirates one-on-one, and only recognize those people if he can beat him. Shanks. You are noble, you are amazing, I thank you. After a few drinks, Kaido laughed at Captain John. It was such a shame that the big cadres of the year got mixed up to the end and were killed by their own people. He told some stories about Captain John, and his words were full of disdain. Kaido also reveals that he and Charlotte Linlin conned the text of the signpost history from Captain John. He and Charlotte Linlin each keep a piece, but unfortunately no one can translate the content on it. They have long been working on the idea of historical texts, in order to be able to translate the information above. Charlotte Linlin also specially gave birth to a three-eyed daughter with a three-eyed man. The three-eyed race, like the ghost race, is a rare race in the world. Their third eye has the ability to see the essence of things. As long as Charlotte Linlin's third eye ability is awakened, they can read the text of history. Kaido said that these are not leaks, but trying to win over Leno 777. On the red line, we are all under attack, we have a common enemy, the world government. This is why we work together, launch the greatest war in the world. Born to the nobility, those in power who are addicted to peace and happiness are brought to the battlefield. The regiment is equality and freedom. Only war can determine the value of human beings. Leno rejects Kaido's offer of alliance. To do anything, you need the right environment and the right time. The current world is not in the most chaotic situation yet. Killing 5 elders and celestial dragons, like assassinating a prince, cannot shake the balanced world government. Since it is still the version of the world government, there is no need to go against the version. The first person to revolt is often the pioneer of the king. History has already pointed out the successful routine: building high walls, accumulating more food, becoming king slowly, and gathering people's hearts and general momentum. He is now a late-stage hero. Every year that passes, his strength increases by 1 point, and his advantage accumulates by 1 point. Leno is not in a hurry at all. Development is the kingly way. Let the revolutionary army do things first, and attract the firepower. Who knows that the world government has ruled the world for 800 years? Besides, Uranus, what other strange things are hidden? One Piece world has weird and regular fruits. Celestial dragons can freely feed devil fruit to slaves, which shows that they are not short of such items. Haki is not absolutely restrained against devil fruit, and Luffy's awakening can even rubberize Kaido's body. In addition, the awakening of Op fruit, eternal life surgery, in the 800 years, is I am the only one. The science and technology of the huge kingdom can be glimpsed from the future island. What can the alliance of 20 nations master to overthrow them? After all, Leno is not the King Luffy. A group of people are secretly protecting him, so he needs to be careful. He often communicated with the revolutionary army, encouraging them to arm themselves, resist violently, and establish a revolutionary kingdom. If you form an alliance with Kaido, you will pull back the firepower and help the revolutionary army attract attention. Wouldn't he be taken advantage of? Although Kaido didn't understand, he persuaded him. How about I marry that kid from my family to you? I think she still likes you. When Kaido said this, he felt a little guilty. This way we are family. Leno. Being a father takes advantage? Kaido people are ugly, but they think they are beautiful. Kaido failed to achieve the goal of forming an alliance and returned with regret. He was on the way, only to find out open black lens bracket drought close black lens bracket little Jack was knocked out, and Yamato, who was locked up, was not on the boat. Jack woke up, right on apologized. Kaido didn't care. It feels so good to be free from worries. Hunter Guild, temporary office building in Kale Bali. Leno is discussing the island development plan with Luwell, from the Fishmen Island to the construction of the Kale Bali route. This route is more difficult than East Blue to South Blue, and the geographical environment and pirates along the way are more dangerous. But once it succeeds, the benefits it can bring will be even more substantial. Open black lens bracket Hunter Guild close black lens bracket funds are needed for development. Opening up routes is most suitable for guilds. Not only earning Bailey, but also expanding the radiation range of the guild, increasing the territory and influence on the world. Furthermore, the world government monopolizes the shipping routes between the 4 seas, and the annual profits it grabs are astonishingly high. Leno gets a piece of the pie, cuts the world government's revenue, and one goes up and down the other. From an economic point of view, it's a win-win, win double. In order to maintain the huge expenditure, the heavenly gold, apportioned by the world government to all countries will inevitably increase. The nobles of various countries will move down the pressure layer by layer, and give it to the people at the bottom. Oppression and exploitation can only last for a while. As time goes on, people's awe of celestial dragons will gradually fade, and more people will resist. Compared to overthrowing the world government, overthrowing people's servility towards celestial dragons is the most difficult thing. As for the suffering that greater oppression will bring to the bottom, Leno is not a savior. From the beginning, he never thought about liberating the world and giving people happiness in the world. Boom. Suddenly, something hit the ground, shaking the 3-story building. Then, I heard a loud voice shouting with high spirits. Teacher, please teach me to defeat Kaido. Didn't Kaido take her away? Leno got up and went to the window. See the front of the small building. Yamato was sitting on the ground, his forehead hit the ground, and cracks like spiderwebs were formed on the ground. Leno turned black and contacted Kaido with a phone bug. Kaido, come back and take away your divine beast. Ah, hey, what are you talking about? New World's radio waves, the signal is so bad, I can't hear it. Kaido's behavior made Leno suspect that Yamato was deliberately brought back by him to harm the Hunters Guild. Bad intentions. Yamato was outside, kowtowing all the time. The physique of the ghosts was so pervert that the building almost collapsed. When Leno came outside, there were already many people nearby, who came to watch, curiously looking at Yamato who had made a hole. When Yamato saw Leno, he said happily, "Teacher, you finally came out, I knew it, sincerity is true." Leno glanced at the crack in the wall. Sincerity leads to wisdom? You demolished buildings violently. Huh? Think of Yamato's devil fruit, it's really a dude. Leno asked everyone to disperse, then looked at Yamato with a solemn expression, and said, "Do you want to worship me as a teacher?" Uh-huh. Yamato nodded, clenched his fists and said, "I want to defeat Kaido, let Wano Kuni open the sea, and finish Kazuki." Well, the goal is great. Leno cut her off. I still have. That's enough, with this goal, with this dream, you can already become a hunter. Really? Yamato's surprise. Leno said, "However, if you want to worship me as a teacher, there is one more condition." What is it? Leno said, "Come on, read it aloud after me, Kazuki Oden is an idiot." Yamato was shocked. She gritted her teeth angrily. "Teacher, I want to fight with you, light." Leno raised his hand in punch. The Conquerors entangled and hit her on the forehead, hitting her into the sky and flying away to disappear. Duel? It's almost as good as your father coming? Yamato flew out for a mile, embedded in the soil pit, and was unconscious for a long time before opening his eyes. Ah, it hurts. She rubbed her forehead and got a swollen bump, which was much more painful than Kaido's beating. Worthy of defeating Kaido, this power. But, why? Could it be that the teacher and Yu had any grievances in the past? Or, is this testing my will? Yamato thought about it. She stood up all of a sudden, excitedly, and ran to the town. Boom. Another kowtow. Leno finally understands why Kaido can't beat Yamato. She is a creature with only one tendon. July passed. The war in the New World gradually subsided. The big pirates died down, resting and recuperating. Ochaku, who escaped, returned to the island after discovering that the Shanks of the Red Hair Pirates did not occupy the Hive Island. Pirate Paradise was rebuilt, but the momentum was not as great as before. And in the Paradise section, a war suddenly broke out on Krajgan Island, and all the people on the island were wiped out. News hit the headlines. Supersedes related coverage in New World. See Circle Calendar September 15-13. Totto Land Kingdom. The guests invited to participate in Charlotte Linlin's tea party arrived by boat one after another. Cake Island. That guy, Leno, hasn't come yet? Charlotte Linlin asked. Not yet. Charlotte Linlin was surprised. Mom, Katakuri, hasn't your invitation been sent to him? Send it to Mom. Hosmi said in unison. No one can refuse Mom's invitation to a tea party. Charlotte Linlin likes to hold tea parties, and every time she invites some famous people to be guests. If someone declined her tea party invitation, she will give each other a gift. The head of a person who has a relationship with the other party. But this time they are facing Leno, the world's strongest hunter who defeated Kaido and Whitebeard. If Charlotte Linlin dared to do this, she would definitely bear the corresponding consequences and face that terrifying monster head-on. He has already defeated the 4 emperors too, and then defeated Charlotte Linlin. Isn't he above the 4 emperors? One Piece? Or, the King of Hunters? In short, Katakuri, Smoothie, and Daifuku still have lingering fears when they think of the battle between him and Kaido. That kind of collision can crush them, when everyone was silent. Mother. The eldest son Parasparrow entered. I just contacted Leno, the leader of the hunter, and he said that he was delayed on the way and would be a few days late, and he might miss the tea party. Oh, Charlotte Linlin smiled and said, Mom, it doesn't matter. He has just arrived in New World, and he is not familiar with the sea in New World. It is normal for him to be delayed, since he is on his way. Tell him the tea party will resume on the day he comes. When they heard that the tea party was going to be postponed, everyone couldn't help being surprised. There was a guy who was late last time, but he was chopped off on the spot. Katakuri felt normal, because this is the privilege of the strong. When you are strong to a certain level, you can change some rules, even BIGMQM has to back down. Mommy, Charlotte Linlin began to sing happily again. Blowier, Smoothie, Snayman, Melissa, Garrett, Powell, Prim. The daughters she called by name responded one after another, yes, Mom. All ready to be talented, dress up beautifully, at the tea party, let Leno see my beautiful daughters. Yes, Mom. Compared with the rebellious daughter of the Kaido family, the son and daughter of the Charlotte family are too obedient. At the same time, Leno went to the kingdom of Totto land, passed through a small town on an island, and made an unexpected discovery when he stopped for a short time. It is called Grand Tessero, in the casino. A mess of tables and chairs, chips scattered, and dozens of guards and gamblers, all fainted. On the only safe gambling table, Leno shook the dice cup, and opposite him sat a blind man. He has short black hair and a beard around his mouth. He closed his eyes. There is an X-shaped scar on the left side of the forehead. The scar extends to both eyes. He has a tall body, wearing a lavender kimono, tied with a black and purple belt, and walking on wooden shoes. There is a stick knife at hand, which can be used for pathfinding besides fighting. Lifetime. The Summit War is over, and although the world government has won, it has also suffered a heavy loss in reputation. In particular, the fall of the large submarine prison has caused a group of criminals to flee to various parts of the world to cause chaos. The 5 elders were rather disappointed with Marine. Therefore, the world government chose a large conscription, picking out a group of outstanding strongmen from all over the world. Lifetime is one of the people who replaced Guion and added 2 alternates admiral because of his outstanding strength. He was an unknown folk expert before, Paramecia fruit-rich ability user, possessing a strong sense of knowledge. Fujitora is his codename in Marine. He has not yet joined Marine, so naturally he does not have this title. Leno put down the dice cup, smiled and said, "Choose, bet big, but worry. I love gambling all my life." So, Leno took a gamble with him. In the Hunter assessment last year, Leno harvested a batch of talents, some were discarded, and some were used as fusion materials. Currently, his gambling talent has reached grade A. But Yisheng's gambling skills must be better, so playing too complicated with Yisheng, Leno will suffer. Roll the dice, and the day will return. Simple, but it returns to the essence of gambling. It all depends on luck. 50% vs 50%. Leno's Conqueror's shields knowledge, even the sound of the dice cup shaking. It's useless to rely on knowledge, color and listening. After bearing the impact of Conquerors for a lifetime, he didn't hesitate too much, and bet on that small position. Leno didn't cheat, he also didn't know what was going on in the dice cup. But, the sulfur monosulfide level talent, swinging strong luck, glows and emits a special halo, distorting fate. The talent from Buggy, Leno rarely uses it, the uncertainty is too great. Unlucky, quite unlucky, but when luck is good, that is really the chosen one. Are you sure? Leno asked. Yisheng calmly said, "The chips that have fallen, there is no reason to regret it, and life is the same." Leno flips the dice. A smile appeared on his face, and he said, 4, 5, 6, you chose the wrong one, my luck is even better. Did you lose? He has never been angry in his life, he has spent most of his life gambling, winning or losing has long been a bearish sight for him. He just loves that uncertainty. Leno's Conqueror's Haki restrained himself, smiled and said to Yisheng, "Then, you are welcome to join us." Chapter 118 Fujitora joins, Robin returns, I want to study love. Open black lens bracket Grand Tessero close black lens bracket Casino, lost life, facing Leno's solicitation, said very kindly. Since you lost, you should accept the bet and admit defeat. Leno looked calm, waiting for the rest of his life. It's just that I have heard about Hunter's Guild. I heard that President Leno defeated Kaido? Kaido. Are you polite? Please choose someone else to whip the corpse, why not Whitebeard? Leno smiled and said, "It is true," Yi said. "I hope that President Leno can ask for advice on 2 tricks." Can? Leno looked around and said, "This place is not suitable, how about changing to an island where there are no people?" "It is good." Life nods. Leno was in a good mood after being successfully invited to join the open black lens bracket Hunter Guild close black lens bracket. Comparing each other, counting Kuzan and Guion, it means that 3 strong Marines have been dug out one after another. 1 + 1 - is double the growth. Ding! You defeated the opponent, scan to the non-gravity, SSS level. The Eye of the Heart, SSS level, Observation Haki, SS level, Armament Haki, S level, 2 straight Kendo, $$ level, Gambling, class. Leno has won his whole life by betting against each other, which is also a kind of victory. He checks the system logs. Although it will be several years before he debuts in his life, he is now in his 40s and his strength has reached its peak. He just doesn't have a reputation. Since ancient times, masters have emerged from the folk. The sea of Pirate World is vast and boundless. In some areas, even the world government has not been ascertained, especially the New World. Judging from the charts collected by Leno, there are still several dark and foggy areas, full of dangers. I heard that even the fleet of the 4 emperors shunned those areas, and would not approach them easily, lest they be sucked in. There are various natural forces in the sea, such as earthquakes, volcanoes, storms, tsunamis, etc., which are difficult for human beings to contend with. There are even some weird ones, which cannot be solved by physical force alone. For example, the Demon Sword, 7-star sword, the strange flower that can revive people and forget the past, the rainbow space where time flows extremely slowly, etc. Such an unknown powerhouse like Yisheng must still exist. Like becoming admirals, Green Bull, Wangmu through conscription with him. It's just that, compared to his whole life, Leno is not interested in sports. He is a follower of Akainu, Sakazuki, who pursues absolute justice. It's nothing. The key Aramaki is different from Sakazuki who dared to challenge the 5 elders. He strongly supports the world government and celestial dragons. Open black lens bracket. Please host choose a talent as soon as possible. Close black lens bracket. Leno hesitated. Choose the Eye of the Heart. 2 SSS ranks, but 1 is the fruit ability. If copied, Leno can't reach the level of awakening. Well, of course choose another one. Although heavy fruit is strong, but Leno already has shock fruit, which is not a mandatory talent. Ding. Successfully copied talent. Eye of Heart, talent introduction. The heart is the eye, it can penetrate all the fog in the world. Close black lens bracket. Strength. SSS level. Leno closed his eyes. Then I felt a power that had been dusty for a long time in my body, and gradually broke through the layers of restraint. Until it spins rapidly, and leads to the depths of the soul, digging out the treasure that has been dusty for a long time. A mind eye came out through the body, tranquil and far-reaching, eyes like torches. Then penetrate the changes of the years in the wind and rain, flow freely in time, and look up between the sky and the earth. It's a wonderful feeling. It's not observation Haki, but you can feel the sea breeze, ships, sky, and even meteors passing by. Even, he sees himself. I see, being able to pull down meteorites from the sky in a lifetime, and being able to use observation Haki in emotional excitement, is this talent. On the island. After Leno's ship left, the person in charge of the casino quickly contacted Tezzolo. Boo 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 West Blue. A huge city-like ship, dragged by the island tortoise, moved forward slowly, with the golden flag fluttering. Inside the golden city, Tezzolo was full of ambition, and there were a large number of West Blue rich people, gamblers, and kings of the kingdom on board. They can enjoy everything on the boat until all their property is swallowed by this gold-swallowing monster. West Blue is just the beginning. He wants to control the wealth of the whole world, and wealth controls everything. While singing and performing, he picked up the microphone, and then motioned to the dancers to stop the music. The surroundings were instantly quiet. Hunter leader Leno? Tezzolo's smile disappeared, and he frowned. How did you provoke that guy? He has been getting closer to celestial dragons recently, and occasionally heard 2 celestial dragons say that Leno is not an ordinary person. It seems that Leno's name is also a taboo in celestial dragons. Some people worship it, but some people hate it. How can someone who can make celestial dragons helpless? In short, Tezzolo puts Leno, the most untouchable man in the world. Who would have thought that the person in charge of the casino came to tell him that Leno smashed their table not long ago? Tezzolo was speechless. What is smashing a platform? It's okay to kill someone. It's like calling your boss after you cut a fiber optic cable. Hey, boss, guess what I dug up? Boss. Stop talking, I'll pack up and run. Tezzolo now has the idea of running away. New world. Desert island. The waves were churning. Robin stood on the side of the boat, looking over the island. A burning meteorite fell from the sky. Leno versus a lifetime. She held the coffee and admired it quietly, as gusts of hurricanes blew past, shaking her hair and clothes. New world is really strong. A 10 knife soared into the sky, splitting the small mountain-sized meteorite into 4 halves. Boom boom boom. The meteorite fell to the island, smashing potholes one after another, burning thick smoke, billowing up, covering the mid-air. For a lifetime, such an attack is useless. Leno holds the knife with one hand, relaxed and freehand. As his height grows, Dragon Sparrow, which was big before and needed 2 hands, is just right now with 1 hand. The condensed, black knife, regardless of its sharpness, hardness, quality, and fit with him, is super high. Facing his whole life, Leno's pressure is not as great as when facing Kaido and Whitebeard. Gravity Knife Tiger. Life is stable. He swung his knife, and the distorted gravity slashed out. He stored gravity on the knife. The orbit of swinging the knife releases a huge horizontal gravity, which can crush and destroy everything in front of it. What followed was the huge wind pressure generated by gravity. The strong gravity shattered the ground layer by layer, hitting Leno's invisible armor made of armed colors. Boom. The surrounding wind pressure and gravity shattered everything, but Leno didn't move at all, and slashed down with a knife. Click. The air splits and the space shatters. One knife flow shaking knife. The oscillating blade collides with the gravity, canceling each other out, distorting the space and the ground into huge pits. Leno raised his hand and slashed. Brush. The 1-meter-long crescent moon slashed across the air, and the ground was neatly cut open, and the rocks were also cracked. Cut nothing. Leno's power at this time, any slashing attack, has the terrifying edge to split cliffs and battleships. The slash strikes a lifetime. He didn't pick it up hard. Ryue flashed by. You don't seem to have any experience fighting against top players. Leno commented. Yixin has agreed to join the Hunters Guild, and the battle between the two is mainly about exchanging ideas, not very intense. Yixin nodded. Well, I'm not interested in being famous, and I seldom fight with others, so. No wonder. Leno's figure disappeared. Observation Haki? Can't sense. In the casino, I have experienced Leno's ability to invalidate observation Haki all my life. Hell Brigade. Life puts the knife in its sheath and presses down with the knife. Buzz buzz. The surrounding gravity suddenly increased by 100 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times. Boom! Under gravity, the ground around him sunken directly and fell into the abyss. But, I haven't finished closing the knife in my life. His eye of heart talent captured the blurry figure close up. He immediately turned sideways, avoiding the sudden cutting of the blade. The sharp blade easily cut through the corner of the clothes and landed on the ground, splitting a deep and long gap. The tip of Leno's knife fell to the ground, and he suddenly kicked sideways, taking him by surprise, leaving Shanks too late to guard against. Boom! Wrapped around the Conqueror's armed-colored feet, kicked on the shoulders of a lifetime, and then the Gen talent exploded. 3 different forces, such as 3 huge waves, attacked swiftly and violently. The attack like a trio made it difficult for the armed color of a lifetime to resist, and was directly blasted away. For others, the 3 forces attacked together to achieve the greatest degree of destructive power. But Leno's 3 kinds of power, each of which is a collection of 3 kinds of people, attacking at the same time is not as good as separating them. It's not that it's not strong, but it's more threatening. Rhythm. If you let Kaido, Whitebeard, Yixin, etc. sum it up, you will come to the same conclusion. Leno's offense is often unexpected, it's not that he has many tricks. But Leno has practiced, and now he can change the attack rhythm as he likes, simple moves, but the threat is not small. Tempo is often mentioned in competitive games. The side with a good rhythm can often control the situation and suffocate the opponent. In battle, it is equally important, fast and slow. Seemingly simple changes may determine the outcome. Once a certain side is dragged into the opponent's familiar combat rhythm, it will gradually lose the initiative. The rhythm requires a lot of training and combat experience, as well as enough comprehension, to be mastered slowly. After landing on the ground, Leno looked at Shanks, who fell into the pit, his eyes lit up. Hey, life, your gravity is really good if you use it for weight training. Leno moves his muscles and bones, and the feeling of being squeezed by gravity is stronger than that of the deep sea. To be honest, with his current strength, talent, and general basic training, he can't even warm up. Hearing Leno's words, Yixin was stunned for a moment. Using his gravity to carry out weight training, is it suitable for space? Hash plus hash equals. Seeing that he didn't stand up, Leno asked. Do you still want to fight? Life sat up. He rubbed his right arm, which he couldn't lift, and said, no need, it seems to be getting hot. Ask for flowers, Leno's triple kick is powerful. Life is not like Kaido's kind of meat shield, he is a mage-oriented output, and his small body can't handle it. You need special training, your whole life. You have too few fights with top experts, you need blood and fire to temper. Leno gives advice. Judging from the original plot, the strength of a lifetime is there, but compared with the top, it seems to be a little worse. Haki can't split birdcage. It can be said that he doesn't want to fight directly with Doflamingo, but after capturing Luo, he can still escape. He showed his inexperienced side in actual combat, arrest and other operations. These are the common problems of non-systematic and folk masters. Perhaps, the trio said. Life nods. After fighting against Leno, he realized that he had no strength, but he couldn't use it, and was restrained by Leno. This fight was very aggrieved, and he always felt that he had played less than 60% of his full strength before it was over. His moves have almost no effect on Leno. Those moves are very sharp against cadres and captains. Because the strong people you will come into contact with in your life are basically at this level, so all kinds of moves are naturally aimed at them. If he had played against 4 emperors and admiral, he would have been famous long ago. However, there is a world of difference between cadres and captains and admirals and 4 emperors. Regardless of defense, attack, or anything else, they are all poor, and his moves are very ineffective. For example, in Luffy's 3rd and 4th gears, it's no problem to play cadres and emperor's assistants, but what about playing Kaido? The 4th level of attack is also sobering up. Opponents have different levels, and their moves have to be different. Even Leno played differently against Kaido and Whitebeard. Leno came to lifetime. He exhausted his physical strength, and a blue flame appeared on the palm of his hand, falling on the injured shoulder of his life. 0. The flames burned, penetrated into the skin, flesh, and bones, filled with vitality, and made his injuries heal quickly. SS-level talent regeneration worker. Feeling the healing of his shoulders, his curiosity throughout his life, and his magical ability, he said, President, what race are you? Of course people, Leno said. Yixin opened his eyes, as if he wanted to see clearly, but his eyes were white, and he could only see the outline. That outline, filled with mysterious color. Everyone has their own color, and the president is the person with the most colors I have ever seen, like a rainbow. A lifetime of emotion. Leno, life back on board. Shower, wash off the dust. Leno came to the office. Robin was holding coffee, leaning on the chair, crossing his legs, looking at a book, with a slight smile on his lips. What are you laughing at? Leno leaned over and found that she was reading a knight novel, which was probably about the love between a knight and a princess. You watch this too? Leno was surprised. Robin looked at him and said, I'm trying to analyze love from the perspective of a scholar. Analysis of love? Leno shook his head and said, you study slowly? Leno went inside. After he sat down, Robin looked away. After she became Leno's secretary, she followed him through East Blue, Calm Belt, through Paradise, to South Blue. Now, via the Fishmen Island, comes the New World. Go south and north. Robin's knowledge has greatly increased, his mind is broadened, and his mood is not as gloomy as before. Mainly, Leno, the boss, is different from the previous ones. He is so strong that Robin feels at ease. Not only is he strong, he seems to really not care about his past at all. As long as Robin does his job well, Leno doesn't make any demands on her. At most, he came to train her specially because of the interest. It's real special training. The repeated abuse made Robin doubt his life. Several times the next day his body was sore and he almost couldn't get up. However, the effect is beyond doubt. Leno's special training, often aimed at her strengths and weaknesses, gave Robin new thinking, and her strength improved quickly. Robin likes this life. Although Leno did not allow her to disembark, Robin didn't mind. This restriction was much better than fleeing. Don't worry anymore. Work, read books, study hobbies, and train yourself in your spare time. Every day is very fulfilling. What's more, Leno did this for her own good. In Robin's heart, he was very grateful. For this reason, she secretly read the historical texts collected by Leno, and then corrected his translation errors. However, Leno was able to translate part of the historical text, which really surprised her. It turned out that the reason why he didn't care was that he, like himself, was also the one who held that kind of power. Although Leno's translation is not quite accurate, Robin still has an indescribable sense of joy. It was like wandering alone in the vast ocean, and suddenly met someone who was just like me. My way is not alone. Robin is so joyful and happy, so she wants to study love and solve Leno's headache. Leno sat down, saw the revised translation on the table, and glanced at Robin in surprise. Robin lifted his coffee slightly and smiled. She seems to be saying that I found out your secret, but it's a small thing, don't be too polite, we will be on our own from now on. Leno heard her voice and laughed dumbly. He picked up the revised translation on the table, compared it with the historical text, and wrote down the meanings of the above characters one by one. Chapter 119 Non-Mainstream 4 Emperors. Kaido wants to be a father, Big Mom wants to be a mother. Kingdom of Totto Land. Located in a sea area of New World, it is a country established by Charlotte Linlin, one of the 4 emperors. Totto Land is undoubtedly a powerful country, and Charlotte Linlin, just like the heroine of this country. She wants this country to be a unified world. A utopia of a homeland where members of all races and tribes live in harmony. The Totto Land Kingdom is dominated by Cake Islands. There are 34 islands scattered dotted around the vicinity. Most of the day-to-day governance and management of the various islands is taken care of by her children, who hold the positions of ministers. Cake Island. In order to welcome Leno, the president of the Hunter, the whole country prepared for 10 days, and all kinds of delicacies and desserts were delivered. Because of Leno's journey delay, Charlotte Linlin was quite generous to postpone the tea party until Leno confirmed the date of arrival. The other invited guests did not object, and did not dare to object. 4 emperors, 1 strongest hunter. Who has an objection? We visited the island for 3 days. When the news came that Leno was coming, they breathed a sigh of relief, really relaxed. They were worried that if Leno wasn't coming, Charlotte Linlin would use them as a punching bag and snap them all off. With her temper, she can do it firmly. Leno, Issei and Robin have arrived at Coco Island, the outermost island of the Totto Land Kingdom. Is this the island of Totto Land Kingdom? Robin watched curiously. One of the 4 emperors, Big Mom, has been famous for a long time, Yi said. Because it is getting late, they will rest on the island for 1 night, and then go to the Cake Island at the court tomorrow. On Coco Island, there is a calendar town. It is famous for its chocolate. Barbecues on the roadside and roof tiles all use chocolate as the main raw material. The fountain at the mouth of the town is full of rich chocolate hot sweat. Chocolate elements are everywhere here. The Minister of Chocolate who manages Coco Island, Charlotte Lola. 643. She and her twin sister, as well as the residents of the town, Tien Fen warmly welcomed Leno and his party. In addition to them, there are Perispero, Daifuku, Charlotte Garrett and others. Dear Leno, welcome to the Kingdom of Totto Land. A middle-aged man with a slender figure and a pointed face and heavy makeup stood in front of him, making a strange high-pitched voice. Sounds a bit like a eunuch. He has a proboscis and chest-length tongue, and long dark blue hair with light blue madara points. Wearing a top hat, because there are several lollipops on the hat. Wearing a light yellow long coat with a large light yellow collar, holding a candy cane in his hand. I am the eldest son of the Charlotte family, Perispero, and I will be in charge of arranging your itinerary. Perispero, Minister of Candy of Totto Land Kingdom, Paramecia who has the ability to lick fruit. With his own ability, he has made an exquisite, crystal bridge-like road leading to the town. Leno stepped off the boat, making the cheers louder. He has short black hair, and his body is haloed in the sun, making it impossible to look directly at the back. Anyone who sees him at this time can only have countless praises in his mind. Handsome, elegant, extraordinary bearing, he just stood there, smiling. No need for any excessive language. It can not only make people feel a kind of vitality emanating from him, but also feel an unspeakable charm. SSS level, beauty, enough to fascinate a lot of people. Master Leno is so handsome. Sisters Lola and Chi Feng held hands, looking nympho. What an attractive man. Charlotte Garrett's eyes lit up. She has pink hair, yellow eyes, lipstick, and fair skin. She was wearing a purple cloak, a red skirt, a pair of high heels, and a brown ornament on her head. She is the 18th daughter of the Charlotte family, the butter minister of the Totto land kingdom. Leno, Shi Yi, and Robin walked into the town, and the residents lined up to welcome them. Dinner was great. Chocolate is the theme. The talent of open black lens bracket gluttony demon king close black lens bracket lets Leno never refuse food. Life is not used to two sweet things. Robin took a sip and looked at Leno surrounded by women with a smile. If Hancock and Llewellyn were here, tisk. Leno finished his meal and praised the chef and Lola who served him. This is the best chocolate feast I've ever had. Really? Infected by Leno's smile, Lola looked shy and reserved, and summoned up her courage. Master Leno, marry me. Here comes Lola's 988th marriage proposal. Residents who are familiar with Lola exclaimed in unison. Hey, Lola, this is Mommy's guest, Parasparrow reprimanded. Garrett put her hands on her forehead and explained to Leno. This is Lola's habit. When she meets a man, she will propose to him. After Lola said the words, she covered her mouth, realizing something was wrong. Hearing the big brother and sister's words, his face was sweating, and he quickly bowed and apologized. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Chi Feng also apologized nervously. Leno smiled slightly and said, it's okay, everyone has the right to pursue happiness. Lola wiped off her sweat and asked curiously, pursue happiness? Yes, the pursuit of happiness. Leno nodded and said, Miss Lola, I think you must be a courageous person to express your love so directly. With a positive smile on his face, he said, one day in the future, you will meet someone who accepts your confession and gives you happiness. Leno's smile can always win the favor and trust of others, full of affinity. Under his gaze and words, Lola's frightened heart was soothed like a gust of warm wind. Leno was the first man who approved of her ridiculous behavior without directly rejecting it. Although his words already contained the meaning of rejection. But Lola didn't feel sad at all, instead she felt happy. Lola was actually encouraged? Chi Feng was surprised. Unbelievable. Master Leno, you are so gentle. Ah, Master Leno Saigao, I also want to marry Master Leno. Woo. Thinking about it this way, Lola is really brave. Listening to the discussions around him, Parasparrow glanced at Leno and thought, isn't he very popular? He immediately became alert. Could it be that my position as the third most popular big brother in the Charlotte family will be lost? Hateful. Garrett, on the other hand, looked unhappy and snorted softly. Why wasn't I the one who just confessed? Really? Charlotte Linlin hopes to marry Leno and prepare her daughters for talent. Garrett is a more proactive person. She knew Leno, strong, powerful and handsome, and she thought Leno was her Prince Charming. It was hard for her to persuade Parasparrow to bring her here, hoping to impress Leno before the tea party. Now it's Lola who is taking the limelight. She pokes at the chocolate on the plate with a knife and fork. One knife, two knife. What happened on Cocoa Island spread throughout the Totto land kingdom that night. Gentle Lord Leno instantly became the man that the women in the whole kingdom were curious about and longed for. After all, Charlotte Linlin stunned the nation by delaying the tea party for Leno's sake. Leno's name and legendary deeds spread along with it. Cake Island. Katakuri, are you back? Charlotte Linlin sat on a chair, resting her chin on her hands, and turned her gaze to the man who walked in. Yes, Mom. Katakuri just defeated a group of pirates, guarded the border islands, and returned to Cake Island to report. The territory of the Totto land kingdom, second only to the Whitebeard pirates, is often attacked by pirates. However, Charlotte Linlin has rarely been dispatched, leaving all of them to her son and daughter. They are enough to guard the country. It is also this kind of training that has allowed Katakuri and others to fully grow and become strong. Is that guy Leno coming? Yes, we've arrived at Cocoa Island, and Mom can see him tomorrow. Charlotte Linlin smiled and stood up satisfied. Immediately, the room brightened up, accompanied by the sound of music. Ha ha, Mom. A son father-in-law, who looks like an egg yolk and a kindergarten child's graffiti, happily floats beside her. A white cloud, spinning with the music. The flowers, teacups, and furniture in the house are all alive and swaying. They are both Holtz meters made by Charlotte Linlin. How many days until the tea party? Charlotte Linlin sang happily. Tomorrow, Mom. The two singers responded. The flowers echoed, flowers. Really? Charlotte Linlin continued. Where's the world's strongest hunter? How is it? Already here, Katakuri said. Furniture chorus, furniture. We're having a tea party, the Hosmas sang together. How's the cake? Wedding cake. Where's the design? Charlotte Linlin asked singing. Okay. What about the budget? Don't be stingy. What about the material? Hand-picked, forcing and looting. In order to prepare for this tea party, she has sent her men to various places to plunder the raw materials. Egg? Make sure. Fruit? Make sure. Leave the taste to us, sing the chefs. Eat a delicious cake. A sweet deal. Tea party from hell. Is it strawberry jam? And whose blood is it? It doesn't matter, no matter who you are, you must come if you are invited. This sweet moment is a living sacrifice for the devil. This is everyone's land of dreams. All races, the nation that gathers, vendor. Hotsme, sing, song of Totto land. Loudly. The scene is like a fairy tale world, beautiful and dreamy. Cake Island. This is an island made up of big cakes and cream, shaped like a layered layer cake. In the center, the towering cake-shaped castle is where Charlotte Linlin lives with her children and family. Surrounding the castle is a city called Sweet. Here, there are races such as humans, murlocs, mermaids, fur tribes, snakehead tribes, long-handed tribes, and long-legged tribes. The only invisible ones are the Titans with the strongest fighting power in the world. Because of some reasons, the Titans have always held prejudice against Charlotte Linlin. However, Charlotte Linlin has always wanted to bring the Titan family under her command. Port Docks. Come here to welcome the residents of Leno, who line the banks with adult walls, mostly women. They all wanted to see whether Leno's handsomeness was as exaggerated as rumored last night. The subjects of the Totto Land Kingdom are really enthusiastic. At the bow, Leno looks at the shore. He was surprised by the warm welcome. From such a distance, I could hear someone shouting something like, "Lord Leno." Feel like a celebrity fan pickup? The president is really welcome? Life faintly smiled. Although he couldn't see it, those cheers could be heard clearly. His hearing is better than normal. Oh, Parasparrow was a little upset. These people had never welcomed him so well. He glances at Leno. A handsome face, like the most perfect handicraft, a vigorous body, tall and full of strength. It seems that the most beautiful words in the world can be used to describe him. Ah, jealousy. For the first time, Parasparrow felt that God is so unfair. Why did he create such a perfect man? Not only is it so powerful that it makes people tremble, but its appearance is also so perfect. Hateful. Stand with Leno, he's like the clown. No, it was covered by Leno's light, completely lost its brilliance. He is very upset, but there is no way, can't beat it. When the boat docked, Leno disembarked. He was wearing a custom-made hunter costume today, with outstanding temperament and dazzling brilliance, attracting everyone's attention in an instant. There was a moment of silence among the people at the pier. Immediately afterwards, louder cheers erupted. Mommy, Leno, you're finally here. Charlotte Linlin greeted them personally. She wears a pirate hat and has long pink curly hair. She wears intense lipstick and light purple eyeshadow. Wearing a pink wide dress. At this time, she was smiling and opened her hands in a good mood, making a welcome gesture. The huge body is like a hill, exuding a forceful aura. Meet and greet briefly. A huge, gorgeous open carriage, carrying Leno, Yi Sheng, and Robin, drove towards the cake castle in the city. On the road, you can see patrolling biscuit soldiers, as well as grotesque residents, and all kinds of Hosmi. Inside and outside the castle, guards are heavily guarded. A large number of chess soldiers patrolled back and forth. The tea party was held in the Grand Ballroom in Cake City, grand and grand. Songs and dances, desserts, food, etc. are all available. The tea party went well. Charlotte Linlin, who doesn't have cravings, is more rational than Leno expected. After all, she is someone who can become one of the 4 emperors. Unfortunately, it is rumored that the former Charlotte Linlin was also a beautiful woman, and now. Years are a butcher's knife, to fatten her up first and then kill her? The conversation content of the tea party is mainly based on recent events and the candidates for the new 1.94 emperors. At the end, Charlotte Linlin let the other guests leave first and called her daughters. Mom, Leno, let's get married, my daughter, whoever you like, you can take her away. Marriage? Leno. Kaido wants to be a father? Charlotte Linlin wants to be a mother? Edward Newgate collecting sons everywhere? Shanks looking for a brother? Why is the painting style of 4 emperors so weird? How about it? Charlotte Linlin is looking forward to it. If you can marry Leno, it will be of great benefit to Totto Land Kingdom. Leno slowly wiped his mouth with a napkin and said, sorry, I refuse. Okay. Charlotte Linlin's smile darkened and said, why? Are they not beautiful enough? No, it has nothing to do with beauty or ugliness, but I don't like marriage, that's all, Leno said. Oh. Hula. The sun, Prometheus, floating to the right of Charlotte Linlin, instantly expanded into a burning flame, incarnate as a ferocious fire elf. And the white cloud group, Zeus, on her left side became pitch black, like black clouds in a storm, with lightning arcs flickering. The 2-cornered hat on her head opened her mouth wide and made a strange sound. Anger, mother's anger, no one can stop it. Boom. Charlotte Linlin stared at Leno. Lightning, flames, ring left and right. Set off her, fierce and terrible. Leno raised his head and confronted her. There was no wind around, but people fell down one by one. Conqueror's shock. In an instant, the sky exploded, and the entire Cake Island fell into darkness. Ka. 2 kinds of Conqueror's Haki collided, stirring up lightning like black sparks, spreading along the collision place. Katakuri and the others narrowed their eyes. I just felt heavy in my heart, and even breathing began to be difficult. Chapter 120/Big Mom. Kaido, please do me a favor. Boom. The sky of Cake Island suddenly thundered, black clouds rolled up, and a depressing momentum spread. It was sunny just now, but now it is getting dark and rainy. What happened? What happened? Farther away from Cake City, people looked up in amazement. But those who were close and weak-willed had already rolled their eyes and fainted in the Conqueror's collision. Tea Party Hall. Leno and Charlotte Linlin confronted each other, with their eyes intertwined, lightning and sparks shot out. The sudden conflict between the two sides caught many people off guard. After all, we had a good talk just now. Why did you turn around all of a sudden? Although Charlotte Linlin is a woman, among the 4 emperors, she is the most powerful and domineering one. Her principle is, no rejection for those who come, no tolerance for those who go. Anyone who wants to leave 10,000 kingdoms, no matter the enemy or himself, has no other choice but to die. Therefore, every 6 months, residents need to pay 1 month of life to the Hazmi, who is responsible for the recovery and distribution of souls. In exchange for their own safety, otherwise they have to die. Leave or life. If her reputation is damaged, she will be very angry. If her capable men are defeated, she will call in a legion of vengeance to punish the enemy. Luffy disgraced her, she hunted desperately for this. With such a tough and strong style of acting, she absolutely does not allow anyone to disobey or resist her will. So when the marriage she was looking forward to was actually rejected by Leno, the toughness in her character made her explode. Although Leno is the strongest hunter, this is the Totto Land Kingdom, which is her Charlotte Linlin's territory. This is the pride of the 4 emperors. Charlotte Linlin's anger soared to the sky, shaking the island. The violent conquerors stirred the clouds, and like Uzumaki, they kept turning. With such a powerful imposing impact, there are very few people in the banquet hall who can still stand. Issei, Katakuri, Smoothie, Cracker, Robin, everyone is tense. In Uzumaki, Leno looked as usual, stood up and said calmly, "What, is the Charlotte family going to war with me?" The invisible wind blows up, bringing a chill that penetrates into the bone marrow, permeating everyone's hearts. Next moment, boom. A thunderbolt strikes. 31 Leno's eyes have golden flashes, a more powerful and domineering will, suppressed like a vast kamui. Conqueror's Haki, mighty. A kind of will overlooking everything, despising everything, like a god, overwhelming and sweeping past. Click. The dining table was cracked, the glass was shattered, the Cake City was shaking, the clouds in the sky were torn apart, and the seawater was surging in the distance. Chi. Charlotte Linlin's pupils shrank slightly in the confrontation, and under this momentum, she took a step back unconsciously. After defeating Whitebeard and Kaido twice, Leno's conquerors got a huge upgrade. 4 emperors. He now has the courage to surpass the 4 emperors, and he is fearless in the face of the entire Big Mom pirate group. Among the 3 kinds of Haki, Conqueror's Haki is the most special. It is the qualification of a king and cannot be obtained through normal training. It is the king of power that becomes stronger as people's courage and will become stronger, and they continue to defeat powerful enemies. At this time, when Charlotte Linlin took a step back, she released Conqueror's Haki, as if out of breath. Immediately afterwards, click. Leno's Golden Conqueror's Haki became unmatched and powerful, smashing Charlotte Linlin's spirit. Boom. The Conquerors, which normally does not have physical attacks, fell fiercely on Charlotte Linlin at this time. What? Charlotte Linlin's expression changed drastically, she couldn't believe it. Boom. Thunderous rays of light erupted in the collision. With the impact of powerful force, Charlotte Linlin's huge fat body was thrown backwards and flew up. She fell hard to the ground, knocking down 2 pillars and knocking a hole in the wall. Oh, Mom. Parasparrow's long tongue stretched straight out all of a sudden, causing his face to change color. Mother, Prometheus, Zeus, Napoleon and other Holsme hurriedly flew to Charlotte Linlin. Smoothie was surprised. The mother who has always been strong, was blown away by conquerors. Tell it. Who will believe it? How could that man be so deceitful? She licked her lips, wanting to taste him. Damn it, that guy dared to hurt Mom. Cracker gritted his teeth, narrowed his eyes, and clenched the sword in his hand. Katakuri frowned. The power of the glutinous fruit softened the body, and took out a trident from it. Clang. The light of the knife flickered slightly. He drew his sword for a lifetime, and the strong gravity instantly covered Katakuri, Cracker and the others. Ka. The floor under their feet shattered in all directions. Okay, who is he? Holding the scabbard in one hand and the hilt in the other, Yi calmly stopped Katakuri and the others. With a calm expression and a calm tone, he said, I will be your opponent. Gravity brings a huge sense of oppression. This made Katakuri, Cracker, Smoothie and other members of Charlotte look at the blind middle-aged man in surprise. In their intelligence, in Hunter Guild, there is no such person. You know, the intelligence capabilities of the Big Mom pirates have been praised by the big newsman Morgans. Relying on blood and marriage, their intelligence network covers the whole world, Paradise, and New World. Hunter Guild, when did you have such a strong man? Katakuri and the others didn't dare to move for a while. Robin tensed, observing the situation. She was able to persevere in the Conqueror's shock, thanks to Leno's special training. She felt a lot and got used to it. Now she is suffering from chest tightness and dizziness, not to the point of fainting, but she really doesn't feel very well. The one who is still standing here is her weakest, and she is already thinking about how to run after the fight starts. She wasn't worried about Leno and Yishun, two monster-level existences, just don't hold them back. Mommy, with Charlotte Linlin's unique voice. Where she fell. Those pillars and fragments exploded suddenly. A wave of momentum lifted the debris. Ka, a series of cracks, with her as the center, spread towards the four directions in a haphazard manner. Leno, you bastard. Charlotte Linlin stood up in a little embarrassment, stared at Leno with fierce eyes, and gritted her teeth. It was the first time since she became the four emperors that she was so humiliated. Anger caused bloody flames to burn in her eyes, unforgivable. Charlotte Linlin clenched her fists with both hands, let out a roar from her mouth, and released the sonic sound and Conqueror's Haki. Boom boom boom. Dingling and Haki rolled over, cracking the tables, chairs, and walls. Mother. Seeing Charlotte Linlin going crazy, Smoothie covered her ears and said to Cracker, take them away. Go. Mommy's losing her mind. Parasparrow, Katakuri and the others, without hesitation, hurriedly took their fainted siblings and fled. Once Charlotte Linlin lost her mind and fell into madness, she would smash and beat everywhere and wreak havoc everywhere. He even refused to recognize his 6 relatives, even killed his own son, and couldn't listen to anyone's words. You go out first, Leno said to Lifetime and Robin. Okay, in one lifetime, Robin left immediately. You don't want to escape. Charlotte Linlin roared. She grabbed the black cloud, Zeus, in her hand, and thunder light gathered in her hand. Thunder. Rumble. The purple thunder light was released in an instant, and a thick beam of thunder light fell with the swing of her fist. Leno took a step forward, wrapped Conquerors around his body, and released it towards Charlotte Linlin. ZZZ lightning burst out. The Conqueror's Haki, colliding again, overturned the barrier between the two. He unsheathed the Dragon Sparrow in his hand, raised his hand, and a crescent-like slash wave flew out, slashing towards Gonlot Linlin. Boom! The slash and thunder collided together, causing a big explosion, and the tyrannical force shook the Cake City. The people in the castle were all panicked, took the fainted ones, and fled outside. Big brother, what's going on? Mom went crazy and got into a fight with Leno. The tall castle trembled violently. Boom boom boom. The deafening sound of battle continued to be heard from the castle, as if two wild dragons were colliding. The Conqueror's shock that appeared from time to time made the panicked people fall to the ground. Ah, save me! Suddenly, the exit. A little girl who was running away was knocked to the ground by a stone, and turned her head to see a huge boulder falling from the sky. She screamed in fear. Pudding! Katakuri shrank his pupils when he heard the shout, but he was too far away and it was too late. Life, who was fleeing with Robin, moved his ears. Because of the sudden battle, the entire castle was sucked in, and all those in distress were panicking. Life stopped and picked up the stick knife, super gravity knife floating. The gravity fruit awakening skill was activated, and the gravity centered on Lifetime was completely under his control. With the help of his open black lens bracket eye of heart close black lens bracket, the coverage of observation Haki becomes incomparably wider. The invisible gravity makes all falling objects, including broken and fallen walls, people, tables and chairs, etc., all float in the air. Pudding covered her face with both hands, but no boulder fell down, and her hair was scattered, revealing her third eye. The boulder floated in front of her eyes, only a slap away from her. Boom. The next moment, the boulder shattered. Katakuri's trident shattered the rock. The other arm extended, pulling Pudding up, at the same time. More glutinous rice arms appeared on his body, stretched out, and took away more fainted and fallen people. Katakuri heaved a sigh of relief after rescuing his younger siblings, and looked gratefully at Yishun. Boom. Suddenly, violent tremors. The outer wall of Cake City shattered, and Charlotte Linlin's huge body was thrown out. The figure of Leno, dragging the knife, fell in the air split, and the strong shock wave covered Kenshin. Charlotte Linlin stepped on open black lens bracket Zeus close black lens bracket, surrounded by thunder. She pulled off the hat, Napoleon, on her head and turned into a huge broadsword. The flame, Prometheus, grew stronger, and then quickly wrapped around the broadsword that Napoleon turned into. No matter Zeus, Prometheus, or Napoleon, they are all created by Charlotte Linlin with their own fruits. Their power is equal to her power, which can be stacked. Add. The broadsword ate energy, the blade rapidly became larger, and fangs grew. Emperor Sword. Broken blade. She swung her greatsword and faced Leno. On Leno's body, golden conquerors and dark purple arm colors intertwine with each other, a perfect fusion. Leno has continued to conduct special training since he discovered the Haki fusion technique, which has stronger destructive power. Therefore, his Haki fusion is almost perfect. With the increase of conquerors, his armed color broke through the strength of SSS level, almost crushing Kaido. With the increase of armed color, His Conquerors has the power to cause stronger physical impact and damage to objects. Facing Charlotte Linlin's flaming giant sword, his figure flickered, and he slashed straight to the opponent. Boom! The two sides have not yet touched, and the Conqueror's collision ruins everything. The thunder rang, and a wave of air blasted outward from the place where the two collided. The sky was dark and the clouds were churning. However, Leno's knife, extremely sharp and powerful, quickly broke through Charlotte Linlin's Haki defense. Charlotte Linlin didn't completely lose her mind, she just went mad because of rage, not cravings. She sensed the danger, it was the kind of power that even Kaido feared. What's even weirder is that her sense of knowledge has failed. There is some kind of force, suppressing. Conquerors, kill by knowledge. For a strong person like her, Haki is like her left and right hands, an extremely important force. All of a sudden, the left and right hands were bound, making it extremely uncomfortable. Tianmen Dizizi God. It was too late, it was fast at that time, almost in milliseconds, Charlotte Linlin instinctively chose to attack. Open black lens bracket Zeus close black lens bracket under the feet, the thunder spread, and the thunderlight volley, hundreds of electric snakes, all blasted towards Leno. Boom boom boom. Lightning flooded Leno, but his blade cut off, Napoleon, in Charlotte 643 Tay Linlin's hand. Puff. The tip of the knife slashed across, and a horizontal wound opened Charlotte Linlin's cheek, spilling blood. Oh, Mom. What? Mom is hurt. Mother. All around Cake City, the people of the Charlotte family saw this scene, their eyes widened in shock. You know, Charlotte Linlin has the title of Steel Balloon. She freely has a very strong body with very strong defenses. The blade of the Titan clan cut on her who was only 5 years old, but it was broken by the shock. Even the hail of bullets can't add a trace of scars to her, like steel balloons. Since they were born, Charlotte Linlin has never been seen injured, except that nuns become more vulnerable than ordinary people when their photos are damaged. Incredible. Leno rushed out of the thunder, the Haki on his body flaunted like a flame, and Hero Body was immune to 50% damage. The attacks caused by those thunderlights are quite limited. Protect Mom. Stolen fire. Prometheus burst into flames and rushed towards Leno. Zeus burst out lightning. Way drum. Leno glanced coldly, looking for death. His figure flashed past, and the dragon sparrow in his hand was entangled with purple-gold flames, cutting off flames and thunderclouds with unparalleled sharpness. Hosmi is created with the power of soul and soul fruit, and is similar to Logia's elemental existence. In theory, it is cut continuously. But Leno's slash passed by, and both Prometheus and Zeus felt severe pain. After they separated, they couldn't be closed again. Blood. Charlotte Linlin fell backwards and fell from the air, seeing the blood spilled on her face, her pupils constricted. I am? She wiped her cheeks, the bright red blood made her eyes show a kind of fear. Boom. She landed heavily and fell to the ground, making no pits. Suddenly, Leno fell from midair and heard a deafening cry. D. The smoke dissipated, and Charlotte Linlin sat in the pit, rubbing her eyes with her hands, crying like a child. Leno was surprised. What is this? Can't fight, cry? Leno hesitated a little, but swung his knife and chopped down. Mother, Katakuri, Cracker, Smoothie and the others were suddenly terrified and stepped forward one after another. Gravity knife tiger. Yi swung the knife, and the violent horizontal gravity engulfed countless falling objects hovering in midair, rushing towards them. Boom boom boom. Katakuri and the others shot violently, attacking falling objects and gravity, causing constant explosions. But still blocked. When the trembling sound suppressed the crying, and Katakuri was the first to break through various obstacles, his nervous expression slightly relaxed. Waroro. Kaido's laughter came from the smoke, his tall body gradually became clear as the smoke cleared. Leno, please do me a favor, let's forget about today. Kaido paced back and forth, carrying a mace, and limped out. Chapter 121 Momonosuke Must Die, Bloody Butcher, Sakazuki. Cake Island. Under the knife of Leno. In the smoke and dust, a tall figure stood in front of the crying Charlotte Linlin. Kaido? That unique laughter surprised Robin. Kaido of the Beasts also came? The smoke gradually dissipated. The tapered prosthesis on Kaido's left foot fell to the ground, making pits, and the ground trembled slightly from the shock of his footsteps. Face. Leno looked at Kaido, swung a knife, slashed down, and said speechlessly. You Kaido has a fart face. Do you want to save face? You think you Kaido is a person with face fruit ability? Under the knife light, Kaido didn't dare to push himself too hard, he swung the mace with both hands, and slammed at Leno's knife. His armed color, Conqueror's, is also wrapped around the mace, presenting a monstrous black. Boom. There was no Conqueror's collision between the two forces, but when the weapons collided, the overflowing electric sparks flickered. The condensed power burst out in an instant, the landslides and ground cracks are earth-shattering. The collision between the two caused the entire Cake Island to shake, the waves flowed against the current, and the strong wind rolled back towards the sky. Hiss, these two monsters are too scary. Katakuri, Smoothie, Daifuku and others put their hands in front of them, released Haki, and resisted the shockwave. If it weren't for their resistance, those weak brothers and sisters would probably be turned into fools by the powerful momentum. In a strong frontal collision, the ferocious airflow is like the waves of the sea. Leno's knife pressed down slowly. Kaido took a step back, touching the ground. He frowned. With a burly body and bulging muscles, he stared at his eyes and said in a deep voice, "Aren't you interested in that thing?" "Oh." Kaido opened his mouth slightly, did not make a sound, but spit out 2 words. "Road sign." At the same time, he winked at Leno. Leno immediately understood Kaido's purpose. In the hands of Kaido and Charlotte Linlin, each has a historical text of the signpost. Although they have a good relationship, they are not inseparable, they have their own defenses, and they don't know each other's situation. Furthermore, Kaido owes Charlotte Linlin a favor that cannot be taken head-on. Here is an opportunity to return Charlotte Linlin's favor and get her road sign. As long as Leno cooperates. Leno squinted. "Kaido, look at your bushy eyebrows and big eyes, you are so dishonest, but you are very smart in your calculations." Leno opened his mouth, but didn't speak. But Kaido understood, and Leno wanted to add his piece, plus related cooperation with Seastone. Seastone is one of the items that can target demon fruit power in One Piece world. It is equivalent to the crystallization of the sea. The composition is similar to that of the sea, and it can be said to be the solid state of the sea. So, it can restrain demon fruit power. Various forces often use cages or handcuffs made of seastone to imprison demon fruit power. Seastone is also extremely hard and cannot be damaged by ordinary means. So seastone can not only imprison demon fruit power. For people without abilities, they can also be imprisoned with seastone handcuffs or cages. In addition, Vegapunk inlaid seastone on the bottom of the marine battleship, making Sea Kings feel that the marine battleship is the sea. Therefore, the marine battleship can pass safely, even docking at the comm belt on the Grand Line. Hunter Guild. The route opened up will pass through the comm belt, and a sound wave dispersal technology alone is not enough. If you get seastone, the security is more guaranteed. But seastone is produced in Wano-kuni, which is Kaido's territory, and Leno has no plan to seize it for the time being. As for why, Leno is not the only one who wants to seize the seastone. Kaido was able to enter Wano-kuni smoothly, with the world government and 5 elders behind him secretly fueling the flames. To know, Wano-kuni is a non-member country of world government. Without Kaido, where would the world government, marine, those seastone handcuffs and cages come from? It doesn't make much sense to win Wano-kuni. It's not as easy as cooperation to find a lot of trouble for yourself. The essential. Leno is more annoying to the Kazuki family, whether it is Kazuki Oden or his son, they're disgusting. Well, Momonosuke must die, this villain, let Kaido do it. Leno gave Kaido a face, and followed Charlotte Linlin's provocation with the rubbings of signpost. Although Katakuri and others were dissatisfied, there was nothing they could do because Charlotte Linlin was in an unstable state. Leno and Kaido put pressure together, what can they do? Leave the kingdom of Totto land. Leno and Kaido exchange rubbings. In this way, Kaido gets Charlotte Linlin's road sign. Leno gets Charlotte Linlin signpost, mastered by Kaido. It's like saying, both got 2 pieces, a pretty fair deal. In addition, Leno also obtained 15% of Wano-kuni's annual production of seastone at the same purchase price as world government. To Kaido, increasing production is just a matter of words, and he values Leno more. After the transaction, Kaido and Leno felt that they had made a profit. Win-win. Who lost? After Charlotte Linlin woke up, she was burning with anger, gnashing her teeth, her head was smoking with anger, and she had an infusion. Fortunately, Leno and Kaido did not do anything wrong, they just took away the rubbings, not the signposts, directly. Otherwise, she will have to fight for her life. It is said that Charlotte Linlin also held a family meeting and announced that Leno was listed as the least popular person. Whoever dares to mention this name in front of her, she will be in a hurry with whom. On the way back, Leno looked at the 3 translated texts of signposts. Yes, 3 servings. In the hands of the Fishmen Island, Big Mom, Kaido, and Leno, there are already 3 copies of the text of road sign. He compared the coordinates with New World charts. Raftel is located between the 4 coordinates, and with Leno's mathematical understanding, 3 points can be determined. But, he found out he was wrong. The 4 coordinates are not plane coordinates, but 3-dimensional coordinates built in 3-dimensional space. Leno leaned back in his chair. Looks like I'm going to get the $4. Leno knows the location of the 4th signpost. Island of Elephant, the territory of the Fur Clan. Also, this kind of coordinates is not commonly used on land at all, but it seems to be used in space navigation. He raised his head, looked through the ceiling, and looked at the sky above, the depths of the vast expanse of starry sky. In Enel's adventure, he was on the moon, found the remains of the Moonmen, and encountered space pirates. So, in the cosmology of this world, is the Blue Sea planet just one of the living planets? Leno thought of the ultra-high technology left over from the huge ancient kingdoms, which didn't seem like blue ocean possessions at all. How do you feel? The blank 100 years is the story of aliens from the moon invading the Blue Sea and finally defeated by the Blue Sea people? Or is there a deeper darkness? Leno retracted his thoughts and looked outside. Robin crossed his legs and read a book. She was wearing a light-colored shirt with tied corners, showing a slender waist and gray-black trousers. Her profile is extremely beautiful, with a straight nose. The slender eyelashes flicker occasionally. The edges of the lips are soft and the corners of the mouth are naturally raised. It seems that the black-bellied appearance that is no longer the same as before seems to have become a lot more cheerful. Robin felt it. She raised her head slightly, and after meeting Leno's eyes, she immediately put down the book with a guilty conscience, as if she had been caught by the boss for being lazy. This boss is good at everything, but he is a little too strict. Robin complained in his heart. She sat down and went to work. Leno ignited all the rubbings and translations of the text of road sign with flames and turned them into a pile of ashes. He checks the system logs. Ding! You beat the opponent. Scan to unendowed, iron balloon, $S level. Soul, SSS level. Conqueror's Haki, SS level. Observation Haki, SS level. Armament Haki, $S level. Fertility, SS level. Gluttony, $9 level. Sword skills, $1 level. Open black lens bracket. Please host choose a talent as soon as possible. Close black lens bracket. Charlotte Linlin's biggest reliance is undoubtedly her physique and fruit. Choose, steel balloon. Ding, successfully copied talent, steel balloon. Talent introduction. You have a body of steel, a body of iron, and toughness like a balloon, close black lens bracket. Strength. SSS level, ding. It is detected that the host has similar talents, gluttonous demon king, overlord body, samahata, steel balloon, bull power, strong, barbarian. Is it integrated and improved? Okay. Leno did not expect that the gluttony demon king talent, which has been silent for a long time, finally met the conditions for fusion. Fusion. Open black lens bracket ding. Host, please choose one of the talents as the direction of evolution, and the rest of the talents are fusion materials. Close black lens bracket. Evolve open black lens bracket gluttony demon king close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket ding. Start to evolve. Close black lens bracket. A mysterious light illuminates on the system panel. Talented 1 by 1, attracted, fell into Uzumaki 1 by 1. SSS level domineering body, SSS class steel balloon. SS rank shark muscle. Many talents were thrown into the furnace, and gradually smelted into a golden flame, entangled towards open black lens bracket gluttony demon king close black lens bracket. The fusion evolution of this SSS level talent lasts longer. Different rays of light are extraordinarily bright, burning in the system, the flames are dazzling, and they emit surging energy. 10 minutes passed. Ding, congratulations to the success of the fusion, host has obtained the talent, gluttony demon god is $S level, close black lens bracket. Shish. The shells flew across the sky, and the sound they made resounded through the sky. Boom boom boom. One explosion after another was deafening. It seems to tear the earth apart. The flames rushed into the sky accompanied by gunpowder smoke, dyeing the setting sun red. On the sea, Sakazuki was wearing a coat of justice, standing on the bow of the warship, looking at the land in the distance. His expression was grim, and flames danced in his eyes. More than 10 days ago, the Revolutionary Army overthrew the kingdom on this island by way of armed revolution. As one of the member countries of world government, the royal family contacted world government immediately. 5 elders immediately from naval headquarters, draw Sakazuki, via Marijoy, from Paradise straight into South Blue. Houses were burning in flames, civilians fled in the flames. The shrill screams and the sounds of pain intersect, composing a tragic song of purgatory on earth. Sakazuki Vice Admiral, there are civilians on the shore, do you want to stop shooting? A rear admiral's eyes were filled with dismay, civilian? Sakazuki was unmoved, with a cigar in his mouth, his tone was fishy. In my eyes, there are only enemies. There is no mercy on the battlefield. The civilians in your eyes will shoot and kill your soldiers when you are not paying attention. Keep booming Z. Yes, marine artillery fire poured out and completely destroyed the seaside town. Nearly 1,000 townspeople died, and it was only because Sakazuki received a tip that there were Revolutionary Army activities in the town. Relying on Marines' firepower, Sakazuki insists on a kill-all policy. It is a stronghold that hides the Revolutionary Army among the civilians like a ruined one. Pulled out one by one, tough, brutal and cold-blooded repression. Sakazuki showed his iron fist to the Revolutionary Army. The Revolutionary Army, which has been relying on civilians to fight, was beaten by Sakazuki all at once. Because the military officers they met before, they were more or less scruples about the casualties of civilians and subordinates, and acted mildly. Sakazuki is different. He is very determined. First, artillery fire washes the ground and kills indiscriminately. Regardless of the civilians, the Revolutionary Army, even his own subordinates, who dared to hinder him, will be dealt with in the same way. In case of resistance, send Marine to land again. Colonel Officer, Rear Admiral, Vice Admiral, a luxurious lineup, the Revolutionary Army with uneven combat strength, basically collapsed in one blow. Just 2 days. South Blue's Revolutionary Army suffered heavy losses. The dilapidated royal capital is filled with flames and gunpowder. The city was empty. All the residents have moved, everyone has heard about Sakazuki's madness, who would dare to stay here? As Akainu passed, the lava destroyed everything and no grass grew. Not only local residents. Even the remnants of the Revolutionary Army disappeared, leaving only an empty city. Quack, quack. A group of crows descended and gathered into a man wearing a black feather cloak. He looked at the man standing on the wall. Dragon. The marine led by Sakazuki is already 5 kilometers away. He spoke in a low voice, but the dragon could still hear him clearly. The dragon wears a cloak, the brim of the hat covers his eyebrows and half of his cheeks, and his eyes are deep and deep. He felt the overwhelming momentum from afar. Ivankov, Betty and the others boarded the ship. Well, everyone is waiting for you, Karas, let them go back to Bardigo first, Long said. That guy Sakazuki is not a reckless man, he must have arranged something, it will be very troublesome after a long time. The leader, someone has to keep them in check. The dragon looked towards the sky, and a large number of marines led by Sakazuki jumped out of the horizon. Follow your orders. Callus scattered into a flock of crows and flew in another direction. The soldiers approached the city. The dragon was just one man, facing thousands of naval headquarters elite. Without fear, he looked to Sakazuki. Sakazuki also looked up at him. 2 eyes collided in the air. Under the impact of the dragon's Conqueror's Haki, many marines became unconscious and fainted under the suppression of this majestic will. It really is you, dragon. Sakazuki doesn't have Conquerors, so there is no Conqueror's collision with the dragon. White smoke came out of his mouth. You still haven't changed, Sakazuki, said the dragon. You are still naive, you want to shake the world, your path is wrong. Sakazuki breathed out the smoke slowly. Kill. Marines elite, unable to hold back, rushed to the city wall. 0. Suddenly, a terrible gust of wind blows out from the city and hits all the marines. Great eruption. Sakazuki jumped up. The arm becomes a huge lava fist made of lava. A huge force like a volcanic eruption launched the fist. The dragon raised his hand and shook his fist. The violent wind gathered in his hands, forming a huge, fierce wind dragon. Then he punched Sakazuki directly. Boom. The lava and the strong wind raged, and in the violent collision, the city wall under their feet, cracks spread, and completely collapsed. In the hidden sea area, a fleet of more than a dozen large ships sailed. Ivankov looked into the distance. Half of the sky was ravaged by strong winds, and half of the sky was burned red by lava. The aftermath of the battle shook the sea with huge waves. The cadres of the revolutionary armies stared nervously. Trust him. Bello Beatty exclaimed. Dragon will not die in a place like this. Our dream is not yet completed. Have you lost your confidence after encountering such setbacks, you bastards? She waved the banner, and the revolutionary soldiers who lowered their heads raised their heads one by one, with firm gazes in their eyes again. The crows flew back one by one, landed on Karas's arm, and brought back the information they saw. Marine has blocked this sea area and is encircling us, Callus said. Ivankov stepped onto the bow, and warships suddenly appeared on the sea. Karas, Betty, you go first, I will cover you, and go back to Bardigo. Ivan. Betty hurried to dissuade. Stop talking, the situation is urgent, do as I say. Where is the revolution without sacrifice? Let me open the way to hope for you. Lord Ivankov, the revolutionary army on board was moved. Chapter 122 Akainu's Justice, Robin's first academic exchange. South Blue. Boom boom boom, marine shells whizzed by. A naval battle broke out. Overnight, the sun came out of the sea and sprinkled thousands of golden lights. On the sea, I saw a broken ship, emitting fire and smoke, about to sink. Blood stained the sea red. Attract predators in the sea, cruising and wandering. Good news. Sakazuki Vice Admiral defeated the South Blue Revolutionary Army. Marine victory. Killed and captured the Revolutionary Army, nearly 1,000 people including Cadre Emporio Ivankov. The world government lists the Revolutionary Army as an illegal organization, and any participants will be arrested and tried. The Revolutionary Army's first armed riot in South Blue ended in failure and gave the Revolutionary Army a blow. Ryu, the leader of the Revolutionary Army, lost his whereabouts after fighting Sakazuki. According to world government's report, it is natural that Marine won a big victory, inflicting fatal damage on the Revolutionary Army. As for the civilians killed and wounded in the war. Civilian? What civilian? If there are no civilians, it's all revolutionary troops. Sakazuki led the Marine guy back. What was left to South Blue was a dilapidated, depopulated island. And the royal capital where Sakazuki and the dragon fought. Half of it becomes a place of burning magma, and the other half becomes a windy eye. Marine rewards come down. Except for Sakazuki, all the generals who participated in this campaign were promoted to 1 rank, which is a joy for all. Sakazuki didn't get promoted, but he won the recognition of 5 elders in world government with his fierce combat exploits. Judging from the results, Sakazuki acted vigorously and quelled the turmoil in just 5 days. He did not let the influence of the Revolutionary Army spread to a wider range. A detrimental move against the world government was thwarted. Although it is inevitable that some people died, as long as the problem is solved, the sacrifices of civilians are valuable. They should be proud that they have made a little bit of contribution to maintaining the world government's domination of the world. Sakazuki is someone you can trust. Wait 9 years later, when Sengoku reaches retirement age, let Sakazuki take over. Marijoy, in Pangu City. On the coffee table, there is Sakazuki's post-war summary report. Although Sengoku accused Sakazuki of killing too much, 5 elders were quite satisfied after watching it. Just right, after Sengoku takes office, Marine needs to have a different voice, and Sakazuki is more suitable. Also, regarding Leno, there is information that he and Charlotte Linlin fell out and got into a fight. It's not surprising. The 4 emperors claim to be the emperors of the sea. Whether it's to protect your own status, the sea area, or the dignity in your heart, how can you easily bow your head? Those guys, which one has a good temper? Kaido, Whitebeard, he also fought against each other. Unfortunately, neither of them died. 610. 5 elders sorry. Leno kills one at random, which not only annoys the enemy, but also alleviates the problem that the 4 emperors are gradually growing in New World. This is good for 5 elders, world government. As long as Whitebeard, Kaido, and Charlotte Linlin are alive, Marine and world government must be distracted. If they are all dead, those big pirates in New World will break their heads and consume a large number of people for the position of 4 emperors. The world government and Marine can also take this opportunity to concentrate all their forces to deal with the open black lens bracket Hunter Guild close black lens bracket. No matter how hard Leno can fight, he is still alone. The 5 elders never believed it. He can hold open black lens bracket Uranus close black lens bracket, Kong Kong, Sengoku, Garp, Sakazuki, Paluzalino, etc. Coupled with the siege of those strong people in the world government. With this kind of lineup, let alone Leno, Rox, and Roger have to jump immediately after seeing them. The 5 elders in the world government are not dispatched now, but they are more scruples and are restrained by the 4 emperors and the revolutionary army. And intimidated by Leno's threats, they are also afraid of being stolen by others in order to fight Leno. However, it doesn't matter, the 5 elders are in a good mood. Anyway, after Leno entered New World, they breathed a sigh of relief. New World is a big quagmire, Leno entered it, and it is not so easy to get out of it in a short time. Unless, Leno can find someone with Kuzan's strength to sit in Kale Bali. Otherwise, he has to stay on top. There are many daring pirates, but whether you are 4 emperors or a hunter, they will fight as soon as their brains are hot. Some even try their best to challenge the strong to gain fame and fortune. Hunters Guild. Not long after it started, there are only a few top-notch people, but they are just top-notch. Who can guard the New World? Kuzan's combat power is not the cabbage on the side of the road, just pick it up casually. Thinking about Kuzan's joining Hunters Guild, now, 5 elders still feel very heartbroken. How dare Leno run around without Kuzan sitting in Elegia? Although the world government made a wave of reports on the South Blue incident, it did not publicize it too much in detail. It is mainly a high praise for Marine's actions, affirming that the world government can protect the franchise countries. As for the Revolutionary Army and the action part, most of them are skimmed. This is a lesson learned from the Hunter Guild incident. Too much exposure and reporting can easily backfire. Letting more people pay attention to the Revolutionary Army is not conducive to quelling the incident. The situation of the Hunter Guild caused the world government to be passive because it stirred up public opinion. The key is Kuzan's press conference, which caused a sensation. This time, the DBAG world government learned how to be smart. What kind of press conference was held? It was directly dealt with coldly, and a small-scale public report was made. New World. In the sky above the blue sea, there are white clouds floating by, and the fiery sun's rays make people's skin grow. A storm is coming. Fold up the sails. Life, holding a stick and knife, gave orders to the crew. Storm? The crew was bewildered. The weather in front of me is very good, very clear. The sun is shining on the earth, driving away the dark clouds and darkness. It was clear that there were no clouds in the sky, and the sun was so hot that the skin hurt from the sun. New World is completely different from 4 Seas. This place is weird and changeable, full of danger. One moment the sun was shining brightly, and the next moment it was snowing heavily. The magnetic field, celestial phenomena, ocean currents, and air currents are completely chaotic. Experienced navigators are needed to judge. When they talk, the sky darkened. A strong wind blew up on the sea, and the waves rolled up, causing the boat to heave and rock. As expected of Mr. Life, the crew admired it. He has been kind to others all his life, can get along with everyone, and has won the favor of the crew. Inside the cabin, it is arranged as an office. Has the Revolutionary Army been defeated? Leno unfolded the information Robin brought. Compared with the news reports, his information was more detailed. The failure of the Revolutionary Army was expected. In the conversation with the dragon, Leno found that the concept of the dragon is mild and still in the stage of non-violence. The real growth of the Revolutionary Army came after the fire in the kingdom of Goa. The dragon witnessed the disaster brought by celestial dragons to his hometown, and began to want to overthrow the dark rule of the world government. However, Long, like Princess Othime, has no plan at all for what to do after the overthrow of the world government. The collapse of an order requires a new replacement. What new order will the world establish? Let each country govern itself, each govern its own, the strong are respected, and the weak are slaves? Or will the Revolutionary Army replace it, unite various forces, and establish a new world government? If it is the former, it will only be a more chaotic and darker world. If it's the latter, history is just reincarnating. The Dragon Slayer, the picture becomes a dragon. The thoughts of Ryu, Princess Odahime and others are constrained by the world, and there are huge limitations about the future. Therefore, before finding the right path, setbacks and failures will occur more than once. Leno glanced at the World Economic News Report. That guy Morgan's made a lot of noise in the past 2 years, and he doesn't dare to speak up recently. The world government is not an idiot. How can it not pay attention to it after suffering from the loss of public opinion? Morgan's is more mysterious. Facing the more mysterious world government, when it's time to confess, you have to admit it, otherwise you will definitely be dealt with. The sky outside was completely dark. The strong wind whipped up a huge wave, which was higher than the deck, and the wolf photographed it. Boom! The hull plummeted sharply to the left. Robin next to him was caught off guard, his footsteps slipped, and Leno made a move. Okay. While shaking, Leno felt his cheek being hit by something, with a faint fragrance of flowers. Still very elastic. Before Leno looked up, the hull shook violently again, this time pouring to the right. Robin was in a panic. He reached out and grabbed what he could. After a while, the wind and waves stopped suddenly. Robin breathed a sigh of relief, only to realize that he was holding the back of Leno's head, letting him press against his chest. Robin quickly let go, his ears felt hot, and he said guiltily, "Yes, President, are you okay? You're bleeding." "Fine. What do you say? Washed your face for no reason?" Leno glanced at her angrily, wiped his nose, and said, "It's been too hot recently, it's a bit stuffy." "Huh? Really?" Robin looked like a scholar, and said seriously, "It should be caused by hormones and hormones? It's a pity that I don't have a deep understanding of physiology, but if the president needs it, I can help." Leno was surprised, and said, "You still study this?" Robin nodded. "I read a lot of books in Ohara, mainly about history, but when I'm bored, I read everything." Since knowing that Leno will also read the main text of history, Robin has the feeling of encountering the same kind, and his attitude towards him is closer than before. Words like mentioning Ohara are not so taboo. Leno asked curiously, "How do you solve it?" Robin thought about it. "I can use flower fruit, as long as the time is short and it doesn't delay work, I don't mind." Robin thought. It seems to be written like this in the love book. Although I don't know the meaning of simple protein exchange, it seems to be related to love. If you experience it, you may gain something. The perspective and world of scholars are indeed different from the thinking of normal people. Leno complained when he heard her voice. He coughed lightly and said, "We'll talk about it tonight." "Evening." Robin nods. "Okay. What means?" Agreed. After she returned to her seat, Leno gave her a second look. Robin was normal and there was nothing unusual. Does she really seem to be taking it as an academic study? Wait. The one being studied is not yourself? A picture flashed through Leno's mind. Lying on the operating table by himself, Luo, who was wearing a white coat. Bin, with a scalpel in one hand and a needle in the other. "President, it's time for an injection." She carefully observed to see where to cut the knife. Leno was terrified. He shook his head, throwing away distracting thoughts. He picked up the scented tea on the table, took a big sip, and lowered the fire. It's all because of the talent upgrade. Leno opens the system interface. An SSS-level talent, Gluttony Demon God, exudes a mysterious light and is surrounded by a faint mist. Talent introduction. You have the blood of the Demon God. Master the secret of gluttony. Your physical fitness will increase by 100 times. You will be immune to 80% damage. Your lifespan will increase by 500 years, and you will have an extraordinary body. A body close to God. Your limit is infinite. Leno is concerned about the new talents that are born from the fusion of super talents such as Superior Body and Steel Balloon. There is only one review. Pervert, strong to pervert. Enhanced physique, increased immunity, increased life. As long as the evolution is fully integrated, Leno no longer needs to worry about the world government, and can directly push it over. Ding! In view of the increase in talent strength this time, it has too much impact on the host's body, and will get 2000 days of evolution, close black lens bracket. Such a surge in talent growth is directly aimed at the transformation of the body, and the evolutionary period has also become slow. Because what comes with power is a change in mood and mentality. Experienced, full moon demon king form. Leno felt that the uncontrollable power would eventually bite him back. Night. After some academic research exchanges, Robin felt more tired than training. I don't like the feeling of being unable to think rationally with a mind flooded with hormones. Robin concludes. She has been sensible since she was a child, and she mostly thinks rationally. However, it's not as painful as Hancock's performance, and it feels okay. What do you think, President? Leno. Circle.operator. Oh, circle.operator. The boat returns to Kale Bali, port. Yamato waited early. Seeing Leno coming down, he stepped forward excitedly. Teacher, please. Leno punched Yamato flying. Such scenes have become common after she came to the island. She was either in a coma every day or on the way of being beaten, and there were dozens of human-shaped pits smashed out by her. The strange thing is that Yamato's strength is actually slowly growing while being beaten into the air. Before Leno wrapped a normal punch at Conquerors, she would have slept half a day. Now it takes just over an hour. Realizing this, Yamato became more and more excited, thinking that Leno was training her specially, and it would be uncomfortable not to be beaten. As expected of a father and daughter, they are exactly the same as Kaido, growing up from being beaten, looking for someone to beat themselves up everywhere. Leno feels that this is probably the development method of the ghost race to improve the superior body, and her resistance is getting higher and higher. The situation of Kale Bali is opened, and the next is the construction period. Leno arranged to sit in Kaie Bali for his whole life, managed by Luwell, and assisted by Lu Chi and Fan Oka. Hancock reluctantly returned to Nine Snake Island. Accompanied by Kuina, after losing to Vista, she will continue to practice. Sharkstar needs to go back to the Fishmen Island. The Hunters Guild entered New World, successfully conquered an island, defeated the Whitebeard pirates, and became famous. As the recruiting campaign started, those in the New World who didn't want to be Marines or pirates signed up one after another. See Circle Calendar September 15-13. Leno brought 500 New World applicants back to East Blue to participate in the third Hunter assessment. They have already had a round of screening in New World, and almost all of them passed. The entry of the Hunter Guild into New World is of great significance. This brings good news to East Blue, South Blue, and those who are full of fantasies about the New World in the park. In the third year since the establishment of the Hunter Guild, 20,000 people participated in the assessment, and more than 4,000 people passed the test. Those who did not pass the test but performed well were also hired by the Hunters Guild and returned to their hometown to develop. 5 elders got the information and felt a headache. But then, within a month, there were reports of Revolutionary Army riots in 10-member countries. Finding that the front is not enough, Long followed Leno's advice and played guerrilla. In this way, the influence of the Revolutionary Army has been expanded. Compared with the moderately developing Hunters Guild, the Dragon's Revolutionary Army seems to be more aggressive and threatening. Because the Revolutionary Army had already succeeded, once in South Blue, only to be suppressed by Sakazuki. Regardless of the world government, if they succeed again, it will greatly damage their dignity and credibility. Moreover, South Blue is one country, now there are 10 countries, next time, will it be 100 countries? Overthrow the tyranny of the world government, equality and not oppression, freedom and not slavery. With the Dragon rolled out the program, directly pointing at the world government, the royal families of various countries, and celestial dragons, it attracts a large number of oppressed and enslaved people at the bottom. 5 elders in the franchise countries are nervous, and they are regarded as scourges. Chapter 123 World Summit. Collect all 4 signposts and head for Raftel. See Circle Calendar 15-14, after 4 years. World Summit is the focus of this year. The focus of 5 elders and Marines' work was adjusted to protect the royal family, and they arrived in Marijoy smoothly. But, in March, an announcement from the world government caused waves among countless pirates. The world government issued a new reward order, confirming the red-haired Shanks to become one of the new 4 emperors. Redhead Shanks, 4,048.9 million Baileys. Iron Wall. The red-haired pirate, group. Shocking. The new 4 emperors of New World was born, not the world's strongest hunter Lenuo, but him. How can Redhead Shanks get the honor of 4 emperors? Kaido questions. Kaido insists that the 4 emperors are no longer worthy of the name, and that he and Leno have surpassed the 4 emperors. Whitebeard Edward Newgate, who disappeared for half a year, reappeared. Congratulations Shanks. Charlotte Linlin gave birth to a son, broke the world record, and the doctor confirmed that she can no longer have children. Kaido declares war and will single out the red hair pirates. The confrontation between Kaido and red hair pirates has attracted many people's attention. Well known. Kaido, who likes heads up, has always been a quality inspector for 4 emperors. The red hair pirates reach the top. Old guy likes to join in the fun so much, it is impossible not to give a big gift. What's more, last year, he talked to Leno. If the red hair pirates really become the new 4 emperors, go to Shanks to fight and test their quality. It's just that the plan is not as good as the change. Because of some things, it didn't work out. While Kaido and the red hair pirates were dueling at sea, Leno arrived and landed on Ko Chang. Elephant Island, also known as Zo, has the legend of the furry principality on it, and it belongs to the hometown of the fur tribe. Because it is carried on the back of a living giant elephant. But the giant elephant is still moving, and it cannot be reached by recording pointers and charts. Therefore, Leno spent a lot of time to find the Nox pirates and persuade them with good words. The Nox pirates is a pirate group composed of fur tribes, including Pedro, Pokmas, Jebo, Beppo and others. The purpose is to help cat-belly snakes find historical texts. As a result, he was chased by the world government and became a wanted criminal because of his pursuit of historical texts. As Bippo descended to observe the sea and drifted away accidentally, the expedition team suffered casualties. Pedro instead entrusted Pokmus to lead the remaining expedition members. On the other hand, he and Giebo continued to explore the historical text. Whale Forest. President Leno, can I negotiate with the boss of the Cat Viper first? Pedro, who is a Puma fur tribe, asked cautiously. The person in front of me is the world's strongest hunter who defeated Kaido, Whitebeard, and Charlotte Linlin. If he gets angry, the Fur Clan will probably destroy the country. Can? Leno looks at the forest. It is amazing that there is such a forest and city on the elephant's back. Pedro gave Giebo a lingering look, jumped up, landed on the tree, and sank into the forest. Giebo, a polar bear fur family, was messed up in the wind, with a handful of black hair blowing away in the wind. Drag. Does he have a mop? Tremendous stress. Leno, Master Leno, would you like to enjoy the scenery of Zo? Leno smiled and said, don't be nervous, as long as you get my goal, I won't do anything to you. Jebo was sweating. The premise is to get it. What he and Pedro are worried about is that the boss of Mobamushi and Duke Inuarashi are stubborn and unwilling to compromise. Giebo has heard about the deeds of the Hunters Guild. A group of guys chasing goals, dreams, and prey. They have their own rules, with the establishment of the New World branch. The figure of the hunter also appeared in New World. In particular, the leader of the hunter, Leno, is like a miracle. He is a strong man who has created countless legends in the past 3 years. He alone radiated a dazzling light, overshadowing the red-hair pirates of the new 4 emperors. It was just a look that made Pedro and Giebo afraid to look directly. You said that you were looking for your brother? Leno asked suddenly. Huh? Well, he fell into the sea and disappeared. Giebo nodded and asked curiously, his name is Bibo, do you know his whereabouts? Oh, yes. Giebo nodded normally, looked left and right, and then realized that he suddenly turned his head and widened his eyes. With Giebo's shocked voice, it started to snow. Lie, Master Leno, tell me, do you know Beppo? Giebo was 3-point surprise, 3-point suspicion, and 4-point expectation. Because of Bibo's incident, he blamed himself for a long time. Leno said, in September last year, we received an application form from North Blue, and several people wanted to join, but North Blue was inconvenient, suggesting that we go to North Blue to establish a division. Leno was surprised when he received the application. He didn't expect that his influence would affect North Blue and change the fate of many people. I heard that they have already organized a group of people. Among the applicants, there is a person named Beppo, who belongs to the Polar Bear Fur Clan. North Blue. Giebo was ecstatic. There are not 100 people named Bebo in the sea, but there are 10, but there is definitely only one in the Polar Bear Fur Clan. My brother is alive. He was excited, grinning, and crying. How can the lost relatives not be excited when they hear the news again? In the forest. Pedro jumped on the bushes, because he was impatient, he didn't hide his steps, and was quickly stopped by the patrolling fur tribe. Brother Pedro. Pedro stopped on the branch and was delighted to see the familiar figure. Roddy, Black Buck. He didn't have time to exchange greetings, afraid of delaying and causing misunderstanding, he hurriedly said, where is Boss Mao Viper? I have something to worry about. Cat Viper. One of the 2 kings of the furry principality of Zo, the king of the night, who is in charge of the night, is as famous as the king of the day, Inuarashi. He used to be Kazuki Oden's retainer, the son of the enemy. Became a member of the Whitebeard Pirates and Roger Pirates with Kazuki Oden. World's strongest hunter, Leno. The cat viper held a pipe in its mouth and blew out smoke. He really beat Kaido. The cat viper's body hair is mainly golden, with brown Madara stripes. He has a ferocious face and a mouth full of sharp teeth. Wearing a red dress full of ring patterns, with a thick mane on the neck and a huge fluffy tail. There is a deep scar near the left eye. Yes, the boss of Mao Viper, and not once, even Uhuzi and Bigmom are not his opponents. Pedro was half kneeling, Daoming was in critical condition. Cat Viper is one of the people who fought against Kaido, and he has a deep understanding of his strength at that time. Mighty Kaido, defeated? And Whitebeard, he also lost? Cat Viper glanced at Pedro, he is a trusted right-hand man and should not deceive himself. The Knight of the Furry Principality belongs to the Cat Viper. The bushes shook. Swish, swoosh, swoosh. More than 10 figures leapt out of the forest and landed in the open space outside the whale forest. Brother Pedro. As soon as Pedro landed, he was embraced by Giebo and lay down on the ground. The look of tears in his eyes made Pedro completely confused. Giebo wiped away his tears and said seriously, Brother Pedro, I want to join the Hunters Guild. What? Pedro was even more confused. What happened? He just left for a while and the brother is gone? Mao Viper turned his gaze from Giebo to the tall man on the opposite side, and said, Your Excellency is President Leno? Leno nodded slightly. Cat Viper said, Our family is the one who guards that thing. For the sake of faith, even in the face of a strong enemy, we must not retreat. He raised his hands, his sharp claws popped out, his cold light flickered, and he said, Your Excellency wants to go over, you need to knock me down. Oh, Leno said, Is it enough to knock you down? The Cat Viper nodded, leapt up suddenly, waved its claws, and in the shimmering light of the cold claws, it tore open the air extremely fiercely. Odin 1 knife-style cat laugh conflict, call. The wind is blowing. Leno's hair moved slightly. Facing the cat viper that was rushing fast, when he approached, Leno swung his right hand and punched out. Boom. The fist passed through the sharp claws of the cat viper and landed on his big face, a depression visible to the naked eye. Immediately, the fist light that contains landslides and ground cracks erupts, strangling everything. The cat viper, which was rushing forward, leaned back and flew back at a faster speed. Mid-air, his cheeks twisted, teeth flew out, blood spurted out. Wow! The pupils of his eyes disappeared and turned white. Ka. Trees were knocked down by his body, leaving behind a messy trace 100 meters long. Finally, he lay on the ground stretched out. Shock. Pedro, Giebo, Buck, Rhodey and other fur tribes from the night group were all shocked by this scene. Obe. They opened their mouths, widened their eyes, and let out a silent exclamation. Incredible. As one of the two kings of the fur clan, the mighty cat viper was killed by one punch? Swallow. Scary. Pedro and a group of fur tribes, their hair raised in fright, trembled all over, and couldn't help trembling. This is too scary. What kind of power? There was silence all around. Looking at the man with a smile on his face, a sense of awe suddenly arose in his heart. In One Piece world, the Ame group has the right to speak. When Roger came to Zou, he also fought against the king at that time, so he was able to see the road sign. After a while, Pedro came back to his senses, remembering that the cat viper threw itself on the ground. Boss cat viper. Hoo. Blood was bleeding from the corner of the cat viper's mouth, panting heavily. Not a level opponent. This existence is a monster. Even if the entire Zou's people add up, it's not enough to fight. That being the case, there is no need to make fearless sacrifices. Cat Viper stood up dizzy, took a deep breath, and said to Leno, "You win, come with me." Historically, Leno was not the only one who came to Zou and took away the rubbings of the road sign. The protection of the fur tribe is under the premise of not threatening the existence of the tribe. Zero looking for flowers. If the ethnic group is destroyed, how can we protect it? Go through the dark tree hole and follow the corridor to the depths of the whale forest. On the wall is a huge, Kazuki family crest, under which, a dark red stone greets the eyes. This is what existed in Zou, the 4 red boulders, signpost history. Text. 1. Ancient stones convey a sense of vicissitudes of history. Under the watchful eyes of Cat Viper and others, Leno rubbed the road sign. They breathed a sigh of relief. As long as you don't take the whole thing away and let Leno rub it, it's fine. First of all, it is extremely difficult to collect all 4 signposts, and they are in the hands of different forces. Second, no one can translate except Robin, son of the devil. After rubbing the road sign, Leno smiled. Collect all 4 road signs, and Raftel is just around the corner. What's on it? It's like a puzzle game, giving people a huge sense of anticipation. Leno didn't stay in Zou too much. The goal is achieved, and they will soon leave with Pedro and Giebo, and they will go to North Blue to find Bebo. Back on the boat in the Blue Ocean, when Leno started translating, Princess Odahime of the Fishmen Island contacted him. Dragon Palace Kingdom, are you invited to participate in this year's World Conference? Yes, Teacher Leno, from the World Government, sent an invitation. Look, do we want to go? Leno smiled dumbly and said, "That's your country, ask me what I do, what do you think?" Princess Odahime said, "I think this is an opportunity to have more exchanges with kings from all over the world. But, I'm worried. If accompanied by a teacher, I hope to participate. If the teacher is not available, then we will decline." Princess Othime humbly asked for advice. Zero under the influence of Leno, Princess Othime has not died in the shooting, and she is more pragmatic than before. East Blue Dawn Island has been built. It is the land of dreams in the eyes of Princess Odahime. Although only a total of 2,000 murlocs and mermaids migrated successively, it has become a paradise in the legend of the Fishmen Island. With the presence of the Hunter Guild and Leno's shelter, the external environment of the Fishmen Island has improved in the past 2 years. Internal aspects. Neptune and Sharkstar have carried out some reforms, such as the banning of Murloc Street and the construction of schools, which have been well received. The most important thing is the route opened by the Hunter Guild, which brought scarce supplies from the Fishmen Island. At the same time, the rich seabed products of the Fishmen Island were sold to East Blue and South Blue, which achieved great success. Regardless of the Fishmen Island, or the open black lens bracket Hunter Guild close black lens bracket, as well as the merchants who cooperated, they got profits from it. So Leno has become the most respected human being by Murlocs and mermaids on the Fishmen Island. Princess Odahime saw these changes in her eyes. In my heart, I respect Leno more and more. I will ask for advice on everything. As a result, there are rumors that she and Leno have an unusual relationship. Leno thought about it. The World Summit in 1514 was a meeting for the re-election of the world government. This session, it will determine the world pattern for the next 8 years, including Marine, World Government, 4 Emperors, Shichibukai, etc. It can be said that it is a key meeting in which history turns. This year's World Summit will be interesting, right? Leno smiled and said, "Get ready, Odahime." "Yes, Teacher Guonuo." Princess Odahime was excited and said happily, "Also, Teacher Leno, I am already 30 years old this year." After hanging up the phone, Leno was puzzled and asked Robin, "30 years old, what do you mean?" Holding the coffee, Robin raised her long legs gracefully and said, "After the age of 30, female mermaids will split their tails into 2 legs, and most female mermaids will go to land and communicate with humans. Male intermarriage. Male mermaids cannot change their tails into legs for life, only female mermaids can." "She probably said that she can give you a human child?" Leno coughed chokingly. Robin took a sip of his coffee, smiled slightly, and said, "I can do it too." Don't you only do academic research?" Robin said seriously. "Give birth to a child, is it the crystallization of research?" "Yes, isn't it?" Robin's rhetorical question made Leno scratch his head, and change the subject. "How is the fight between Kaido and Redhead?" "A draw, the red hair pirates blocked Kaido," Robin said. Leno raised his eyebrows and said, "The redheads have made great progress to block Kaido." In the capital, King Cobra looked through the information about the Revolutionary Army, frowning. Some people who claimed to be the Revolutionary Army attacked wealthy businessmen and nobles in various places, causing quite a mess. Many local refugees and common people were bewitched by those revolutionaries and were dissatisfied with His Majesty's rule. Ikalem, the captain of the Kingdom Guard with strange curly hair, simply reported the situation on the intelligence. Since the beginning of last year, the activities of the Revolutionary Army have caused a huge impact on various monarchy and aristocratic countries. Alabasta, located at the entrance of the Paradise section, was the first to feel the destruction of the Revolutionary Army. This not only shakes the rule of the royal family, but also brings instability to the country. Snapped. Cobra slapped the information on the table and said angrily, "The world government must punish these people severely." Chapter 124 Shocking the kings of all countries, the celestial dragons bow down, Lord Leno. See Circle Calendar May 1514, New World, a black fog area on the chart. The sea is calm and calm. The sky was gloomy, as if a storm was coming. The sailboat sails forward. "President, there's a heavy fog ahead." Robin stood at the bow of the boat, facing the sea breeze, looking at the low-hanging sky that meets the sea. She has black hair with a shawl, a tall figure, and long eyebrows. She is less green and more familiar. Although the results of her academic research have not yet come out, her body has developed a lot compared to before. More and more bumpy. "Go ahead." Leno squinted and watched. The sailboat plunged into the thick fog that hung over the sea. 4 coordinates, determine a location, Raftel, in this sea area, amidst storms and heavy fog. There is no wind in the fog, but the boat was still moving slowly. The waves pushed the boat and drove into the maze. The deeper you go, the thick fog covers everything. Dark. You can't see your fingers. Boom. Suddenly, along with flashes, thunder appeared. The sky fire fell, and the tsunami followed. It seems that there is a sea god who is angry, stopping the mortals and disturbing the sleeping place. See Circle Calendar late July 1514, Marijoy, the 7-day World Summit will be held soon. Marine generals, CP and other government officials escorted the kings of the participating countries to the rest area one after another. "Please don't leave here at will. King Nafarutali Cobra, take care of your daughter." "Oh, I see." Facing the receptionist's exhortation, Ra nodded. For these kings, the reception staff just maintained proper etiquette and did not show too much awe. They are basically CPOs, or spies of world government agencies. The 940 have undergone various professional trainings. After they leave, Cobra sighed. The gazes of those people made him uncomfortable. "Cobra." There was a voice. Cobra looked up. He was a middle-aged man with short blonde hair, a square face, and a beard like a lion's beard. "Lucas." Cobra went forward with a smile. Princess Vivi is curious and searches the memory. Before coming to Marijoy, she learned relevant knowledge. Zunda Lucas. King of the Kingdom of Illusia. Before the start of the World Summit, the kings of the franchise countries will also meet in private to communicate and talk with each other. Of course, all this, under the watchful eye of the 5 elders. Which kings meet? What did we talk about? What agreement was reached? Immediately after it is over, it will appear at the table of the 5 elders. The 5 elders are negotiating. The major topics of this meeting are basically determined. The various organs of the world government are re-elected. The work report of various organs of the world government. Revolutionary Army. Hunter Guild. Add, Heavenly Gold, proposal to deal with the impact of pirates and Revolutionary Army. Kingdom Exchange Meeting. How is the meeting going? No problem, those kings, it's already taken care of, all the issues will be passed smoothly, and the votes of opponents will be invalid. Well, everything is mastering the king. The 5 elders breathed a sigh of relief. In order to demonstrate the fairness and justice of World Summit, each proposal needs to be voted on. Then vote. The figure number obeys the minority, indeed. On some issues, there will be controversy. 5 elders is also very enlightened. allowing those kings who have different opinions to express different opinions. Even encourage them to speak up. Finally, your opinion is very good, we also agree, so come to vote. Voila. There will always be people who will object, and not a few. For everyone's benefit, I can only apologize, this operation is not difficult. There are quite a few trash kings in the countries that joined the world government, and some kings may not even have territories. People from Dragon Palace Kingdom haven't come yet? I heard it's already set off, Momosagi Vice Admiral picked it up in person. The location of the Fishmen Island is very important. They got too close to the Hunter Guild, and the accident of the Buster Call last time. Open black lens bracket beside and close black lens bracket awakened. When the three kings gather, they will appear again, and there will be that fruit. If it wasn't for CP9's mistake, the fruit was lost. More and more kings from the franchise countries arrived, and the rest area divided by the ancient city gradually became lively. Kings who share the same spirit, political views, or similar smells quickly come together in conversation. Annihilation of doctors. Right, Wapple proudly said. In order to avoid the resistance of those untouchables, I expelled all the doctors in the country. Then there are no doctors in your country? Of course not. I have kept 20 doctors in the castle's research institute. In this way, the doctors in the whole country have become my exclusive doctors, ha ha ha. Wapple is obese, with dark purple hair, a large mouth, and a cylindrical jaw made of iron. He was wearing a thick winter coat, an iron armor, and a white beast's fur. At this moment, with his hands on his hips, he flaunted. In the future, as long as someone gets sick, they can only kneel down and beg me, and there is no other way. How about it? My decree is enough to resist the revolutionary army. How can those revolutionary troops fight against me without the help of doctors? Sharp. It's amazing, after returning to China, I should do the same. Shout, what is this? I have something better, just put a mark on every citizen. The sick kings exchanged ideas on how to exploit and control the people. Cobra, Lucas and other kings are discussing the crisis brought by the revolutionary army. Sitting around them are countries and islands that have been invaded by the revolutionary army. As a victim, they hope that the world government will focus more on dealing with the revolutionary army and those pirates. During lunch break, world government prepared dessert. Lucas and Cobra walked together. Hey, have you heard? This world summit, the Dragon Palace Kingdom of the Fishmen Island will also participate. Okay. Cobra picked up a piece of cake and said, didn't they always refuse to participate before? This time they agreed? Is it because of that woman, Princess Odahime? I heard that she has a close relationship with the world's strongest hunter, and she gave a speech at the hunter headquarters in East Blue. With the help of the Hunters Guild, and the King of East Blue, we have reached a labor contract with the Fishmen Island. Lucas was very talkative, and told Cobra what he had learned. Murlocs have an advantage over humans in the sea. Cobra said, if you are a moderate Murloc, you can indeed cooperate. He doesn't discriminate against Murlocs, it's just that I am worried about the rumors of some brutal Murlocs. Lucas nodded, eating an apple pie, and said, now the Hunters Guild is no less popular than the Revolutionary Army. Cobra said, give them the money, and it will definitely solve your problem. I heard that there are also after-sales related services. As a big country at the entrance of the paradise, Alabasta has many outsiders, and Cobra has a lot of information. Lucas heard what he meant. Hunter Guild, take money to do things. What about some people? They don't do anything with money, don't talk about it, and keep asking for money from you. Who will be satisfied? Lucas glanced at the waiter who was watching here from the corner of his eye, smiled and did not speak. Next day, as the seawater surged up, a coated boat in the shape of a goldfish was continuously lifted up along the water elevator. On board, Leno looked at the huge red tree in the distance. He was wearing a well-tailored Hunter Guild uniform with a handsome face against the sun. This time, he joined the team of Dragon Palace Kingdom in the form of being hired to participate in the World Summit. It is reasonable for the leader of the Hunter to accept an escort mission, right? I just don't know how the 5 elders and celestial dragons will react when they see themselves. Raftel. Roger was right, what a joke, what are you looking at? Guion approached, took a look, and found that it was the red tree of Sabodi Archipelago, his cheeks flushed. She and Leno fought a lot in it, and she can have the current strength thanks to Leno's sparring partner. The development of magnetic fruit is largely due to Leno. In return, Guion can only agree with her body. She thought Leno was thinking about that, coughing unnaturally. She said lightly, after the World Summit, I will stay in Sabodi Archipelago for 1 month until the handover is completed. Leno came back to his senses, laughed, looked at her tall figure frivolously, and said, 1? Guion's peach blossom eyes lightly stared, he snorted coldly, and said, I'll be admiral soon, don't be complacent. Be careful I cut you, oh, Leno imitates Paluzolino, it's terrible. The other marine generals on the ship heard the conversation between the two and looked at Guion's back in awe. As expected of Guion Vice Admiral, facing the strongest hunter in the world, he is still in full swing. Of course, Guion Vice Admiral, but our goddess, Guion Vice Admiral, we will always support you. The generals were moved one by one. Mariejoy, a representative of the kingdom of Dulung Palace arrived, interested the king, and came to the entrance. The scenery is great. Leno looks away. The entire Marijoy occupies a large area. I didn't take a closer look when I came last time, but I can see it more clearly this time. The blue sky, white clouds, green grass, and rivers are like a picture. To describe it, the layout of Marijoy is very similar to the Goa kingdom in East Blue. Clear and clean. Do not, to be precise, it is the kingdom of Goa, imitating Marijoy so. A group of people just arrived outside Pangu city. Hulala. Suddenly, a group of people knelt down and put their foreheads on the ground. He. I heard that Princess Odahime of the Murloc race is here. Where is she? A wretched laugh sounded. Crash. Chain drag. A tall slave bound with chains walks on his knees, with celestial dragons sitting on his back. Oops. It's the eldest son of the Roswald family, Ross Saint. Why is he here? He's the one who takes the woman he likes as his own. I must have heard about Princess Odahime's beauty, so I rushed here. Mermaids are the slaves that every celestial dragons want, especially the princess of the mermaid. Leno's observation Haki heard some people's voices. Charles Rose Saint. Leno looked up. That day the dragon man, with curly black hair, has a fat face, thick lips, and a nose with snot. The whole person is like a fat maggot, no different from an idiot or a fool. Behind him, there are 4 or 5 women, dressed in simple clothes, shackled, and with different eyes. Numbness, fear, sluggishness, enter celestial dragons. Whether it was Gion, Princess Odahime, or Lucas who came to watch, they all knelt down. It seems that kneeling has become a habit engraved on them by the celestial dragons. Aristocrats also have high and low. The celestial dragons, the nobles of the world, are even higher than the kings of the alliance countries. They are the nobles of the nobles. Satisfied, St. Charlos enjoyed the crowd's kneeling until his eyes fell on Leno. In the sunlight, Leno stood naturally, and was particularly abrupt and eye-catching among the kneeling people. Who is he? That guy. Princess Gion and Odahime are frightened. Leno. Teacher Leno. The opponents are celestial dragons. Hey, who are you? Kneel down, don't provoke celestial dragons, let us all follow suit. Wapple was lying on the ground, trembling, cursing softly at Leno. Kneel? Leno chuckled and said, what are you talking about? Kneeling to this kind of trash? His voice is not too loud, but in this quiet atmosphere, it was extraordinarily loud. Waste. As soon as these words came out, everyone was shocked. How dare he call the nobles of the world celestial dragons trash? Ah, I'm going to die. This guy, I must kill him, really, why do you want to implicate me? Hateful. The man on his knees, cursing under his breath, hated Leno. On the contrary, St. Charles rose and the people around him did not move and even began to tremble. The bodyguard protecting St. Charles rose, eyes on Leno's uniform. That costume, he swallowed. He still clearly remembered the figure who broke into Marijoy 3 years ago and made a big fuss. The pupils of St. Charles rose dilated, and the figure and voice on the opposite side gradually connected with the memory, and his face distorted. Fear. 4.5 is he? That person? Charles Rose Street was one of the victims of Leno's break-in at Marijoy. He was violently thrown away by a force, also broke a leg bone. In addition, he and his sister are also supporters of the no celestial dragons theory. The main two were seriously injured and lost a group of slaves, which became a joke of Marijoy at the time. In order to save the self-esteem and face of the Roswald family, their father publicized Leno as celestial dragons. And, not your average celestial dragons, he is the purest descendant of God. As soon as this statement was raised, many celestial dragons, who were ridiculed because of that incident, supported it. Rumors have long been difficult to distinguish. As for the IQ of St. Charles Rose, he was naturally unaware of it. Following Leno's gaze, the fat body of St. Charles Rose began to tremble continuously. Just look at each other for a second. Thump! St. Charles Rose rolled from the slave's back, he knelt down on the ground regardless of the pain, and said in panic, see Leno, Lord Leno. Celestial dragons, as the descendants of the 19 kings, are divided into different families, and there are also high and low. Master Leno. The panic-stricken people raised their eyes in astonishment when they heard St. Charlois's mourning. What is happening in front of you? Their eyes opened wider and wider, their mouths opened wider and wider, and their faces appeared unbelievable and unbelievable. Kneel. Celestial dragons, are you kneeling down? What? Shocked. Everyone, Gion, Princess Odahime, Wapple, Lucas, etc., and the slaves around. My heart seemed to be knocked hard, I was overwhelmed by the shock, and my mind became extremely confused. What exactly is going on?